What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the What is Truth podcast. I am your host, John Cullen. Just kidding. I am Weezy of the What is Truth podcast. This should be a fire-ass episode because I am joined by a frequent Flyer Miles guest, Mr. Seven C's. What's up, Seven?
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me. I am excited to get in here and dispel all this shit, and maybe with this Epstein stuff, people will finally see Trump for what he is, but we might as well like lay it all out for people in back to back. Maybe it'll help. So
yeah, I've been going down the whole Dispelling MAGA shit for a while. Did a fire ass show. Shout out to my boy John Brisson. We did one a few months back. It was called Unmasking MAGA, and so this could be a very a continuum of that matter, because it's a dangerous thing, man. I used to have tolerance for MAGA because I felt at least they get some shit right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there was that tolerance. But now it's gone from tolerance to like, nah, man, you keep following that fucking MAGA train. It is dangerous.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that, my man?
I think that especially now, the fact that it seems like 99% of his base were all in on the Epstein stuff around COVID, 2019. And then now all of a sudden they're either dismissing the Jeffrey Epstein stuff or they're saying that Trump wasn't implicated. There was actually like a court order, I guess, or there was instructions from the FBI that apparently they were going through and like scanning and flagging every document in the Epstein file database that mentions Donald Trump. I saw a report about that just today, where I guess they're trying to like go into damage control and get everything taken care of before they release it to the public.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird shit, man, and I honestly don't know. It's fucking up my brain.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term. I don't know. With some of these things that happen, I can sometimes I feel like I have my hand on the pulse. I can like, all right, this is what they're trying to hit. This is the angle they're going for. Right now, dude, I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
It's like you got some Obama shit, blocking Trump allegedly declassified information, which I only heard a little bit of that news today, but I don't buy any of these declassification files at all, man.
Nope.
Because my theory on a lot of these declassified files is it's no different than the JFK files. All the real shit, if it really happens, all the real shit, there is no fucking files.
Yeah.
You really think they're going to keep a paper trail? Oh, look, here's the inventory of all the things we stole. Here's the inventory of all the bodies we killed and we buried them over here. Here's the inventory. You really think people are going to be doing that shit? It's so fucking retarded. All the good shit has long gone, been destroyed, covered up. So the shit that they do have is just more distractions. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree. I think that with the way that they declassify files, the fact that they're, selectively redacted, or it takes so long for them to actually come out with any information on it, that is just like a PR wing for like the CIA and the FBI, because that allows them to literally curate the narrative and release it whenever they, whatever's going to be like the maximum benefit for them. Or whatever that looks like. And I think that, when it comes to like government agencies, intel agencies, I already don't trust anything that they say. So when they're like typing up and creating these documents and then releasing them, I mean, I always have to take them with a grain of salt, even if they're like confirming my own, suspicions and theories, because the intelligence agents have literally no commitment to the truth. They can make shit up completely, lie to us. They're not under oath for anything, and the only thing that they're really tasked with is protecting national security. And I mean, we're kind of understanding, I think, collectively, that the entire United States empire is sort of sitting on this like dark pedophile, trafficking ring and transhumanism and on like all these things that come from like specifically Epstein from like the institutional banking stuff with JP Morgan Chase, the fact that it like ties in Elon and Peter Thiel, Donald Trump himself, all these politicians and shit. And then you have the transhumanism side where he was like, working with like MIT and various like eugenics efforts, and he had Zorro Ranch and stuff. And then, you also have like the big tech part of it where he's, been an early seed investor in a lot of tech companies. And I think that that's kind of why they're so desperate to bury this, because it does end up basically confirming, in my opinion, that this is absolutely the agenda, and this is, it implicates basically everybody.
Yeah. Another thing that implicates practically everyone, and that is hot right now, is Jeff Epstein.
Yeah.
I think Trump put a tweet out. I don't know if it was today or yesterday. Not a tweet. I'm sorry, a truth social. I don't even know what you call them, or fucking a truth.
Yeah, yeah.
Fucking gay, dude. But essentially, he was saying that if there was anything to the Epstein files, that the Democrats under Comey and all the people would have released it.
Yeah.
This is a similar fucking comment that a lot of magatards repeat over and over.
Yeah.
So I want to dispel that shit right now. And let's lay that stupid fucking excuse once and for all.
Let's do it.
The reason why Democrats didn't bring it up in the past was because a lot of fucking Democrats were Epstein clients. Yeah. You take those motherfuckers down, they're going to bring you down with them as well. That's super easy to see, man. Yeah. But a lot of people can't fucking grasp it. Oh, no, it was strictly partisan. It was only the Democrats that fucked with Epstein. No. It was only the Republicans. That is a bunch of fucking horse shit.
Yeah.
Epstein had pictures with the Pope. That's fucking crazy. But yeah, he fucked around with clergymen, pop stars, Billboard chart toppers, movie stars, scientists.
Yep.
Fucking everyone. And so this whole idea that it was only one side fucking around with Epstein and the other side was completely innocent is complete and utter horseshit. Yeah. So that whole excuse that, oh no, if Trump was really on the files, the Democrats would have released, that's fucking bullshit, man.
Yeah.
You got any, what do you think about that, man?
So I think what's ultimately probably going to end up coming out of this, if I had to wager a guess, like let's say hypothetically they do release anything at all that's sort of incriminating. I think that will be used to push an agenda that the government is not trustworthy enough, ran by people, and that we will need AI. And I think that where we had sort of this, I'm trying to remember exactly what it was, but there was it's like they're trying to basically uncover all of the secrets to show how incompetent and corrupt a human government can be, so that they can use that as an excuse to implement more AI and say, we can only trust AI and we need AI to be able to give us the answers because people can lie and obfuscate and stuff like that. That is the only thing I see coming as like in their favor for actually ever releasing anything, but I don't think they're gonna.
Yeah, I unfortunately agree. Yeah, it's wild times for sure.
Yeah,
I know there's lots and lots to get through, as far as decoding MAGA. We've talked about it ad nauseum in other shows. And if you are just listening to me and Seven for the first time, go back to the back catalog. We've done several shows. Every single one of them has been fire.
Oh yeah.
It's fucking awesome. But one of those things that we have been covering is what a fraud this Donald Trump character is and has been.
Yeah.
It's nothing new. He's always been a fucking fraud. I don't know if it was in the show that I did with you or last time I mentioned it, but Donald Trump was involved in a Ponzi scheme, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Trump University scam.
Yep.
Which was covered up by Pam Bondi.
Yep.
Which I
Absolutely.
feel, my theory is that the reason Pam Bondi is AG right now was because she helped cover up the Trump University scam all those years ago. I feel it was a little backroom deal. I don't have any tangible evidence, or any hard evidence. This is just my gut feeling. This is why she's so hardcore and standing up for Donald Trump no matter what. She's getting railroaded by MAGA,
Yeah.
by their own base, and and she's still sticking by Donald Trump. So I feel there was some kind of shenanigans going there for making the whole Trump University scam go away. But that was one of my first red flags. I'm like,
Yeah.
how the fuck can you run a Ponzi scheme and become president of the United States? Like, I had a hard time comprehending that. When I did my first shows, I was making shows talking shit about, like, how the fuck, how is this happening? A con artist for president.
Yeah.
And I was derided. People said, you got TDS. They threw all this fucking shit at me. I didn't give a fuck, man, because the truth is the truth. I didn't give a shit. I could have had hella more followers, but that wasn't what I was going for.
Yeah.
And I want to revisit a lot of that shit with you. And I'm sure you've got tons and tons of webs, Mr. Charts and Graphs.
Oh yeah.
And this is what I think the show, this is the flavor for the show. If you want to learn more about this Trump, maybe you're on the fence. Maybe you're still unsure. Maybe part of you wants to trust the plan. Well, if that's the case, those dreams are going to be dashed tonight, man.
Oh yeah. I actually, speaking of that Pam Bondi thing,
Yeah.
I have a couple of things about her, and some of them actually tie into like Scientology and stuff. So I'm gonna bring up this this web here. Let's see. There we go. All right. So one significant owner of Trump media stock who is not widely reported beyond this story is Trump ally Pam Bondi, who has 106,250 shares. This is Trump Media and Technologies Group. That's where he like pushes all of his like his Solana coin, all of his Rumble partnership goes through TMTG and shit like that. And 31,250 warrants to purchase common stock. Based on a recent price of $40, Bondi shares are worth 4.25 million, and even more if she exercises the warrants. What you were talking about, though, with the Trump University stuff. So she was Florida's attorney general from 2011 to 2019 and received multiple complaints to investigate Trump U in Florida. In 2013, her re-election PAC received $25,000 from the Donald J. Trump Foundation, and then she later declined to join a lawsuit against Trump University. And it's actually funny because then other people went to like go investigate it, and she was trying to like basically stifle it as AG every step of the way. And it's funny because she was going to join the case against it and then got this $25,000 from Donald Trump and then declined.
Yeah. And that's what makes me think that there was a lot more than $25,000, because
oh yeah,
who would jeopardize their goddamn practice, their career, over a $25,000 campaign contribution?
Yeah,
you would have to be fucking nuts. So I feel there was some more backdoor shenanigans going, afoot, and possibly even that promise, hey, I'm going to be the man in a couple years, and once that happens, you're going to be my AG.
Yeah.
And I think it's entirely plausible. I don't think it's far-fetched of a theory as it may sound.
Well, another thing, I'll stop sharing this real quick because I'll bring up something that sort of ties it into Epstein. I gotta share my screen real quick. Hold on one sec. Let's see here. Sorry about that. All right. I gotta go to me and Pam Bondi. I've got like all kinds of stuff, but so essentially when she was running for AG, she ended up getting very early support from a bunch of Scientologists. And a lot of people don't know that. Let's see. I don't know where that window went. Hold on one sec. Is it this? No. Let me see. Sorry about the delay there. There we go.
Good, man. I got it.
All right. So I was digging into this before the election and stuff, right? When he was like, I'm, going to make Pam Bondi my AG. So she has ties to Scientology, having support from them as far back as at least 2014, where longtime Scientology funders like Liz and Michael Bayback helped her raise funds for her campaign. And give me just one second because I want to remember when that was. So in 2013, her re-election PAC. So right after that, she started also getting funding from Scientology. She also knowingly spoke at an event sponsored by the Florida branch of Citizens for Social Reform. Citizens for Social Reform was founded by Scientologists. And then she also had a spokesperson for her announce that Pam's office was considering joining a lawsuit initiated by Eric Schneiderman, the Attorney General of New York at the time, regarding those fraud charges. So I think that's just crazy. And she's also done business with the guy that owns the New York Stock Exchange. His name is Jeffrey Sprecher, I believe it is. And he is actually married to Kelly Loeffler. Do you remember Kelly Loeffler?
Yeah.
So they got investigated for congressional insider trading during COVID. She was on like the health committee or whatever. And right before the country shut down, they sold a bunch of stock in all these companies that were going to be impacted by COVID and put a bunch of money into like Citrix and all these like remote work from home softwares. This was like, I think a day or two before the country shut down. And then Pam Bondi also represented them in a case against this thing called Lender Processing Services that's basically owned by the company that owns the New York Stock Exchange, also run by that Craig Sprecher guy and the Kelly Loeffler. And they were basically doing this thing called robo-signing. And what robo-signing was they, like for a bunch of leases and stuff, they had specific clauses in those leases that if violated could cause like foreclosure on the house. And they were like pre-signed so that people weren't even like signing those when they were signing their lease. They'd get skipped over. Sometimes it would even just be signed like signature in cursive, and had all these pre-filled forms, and then they would use those as grounds to like foreclose on people prematurely, take all their money and their house. And she basically helped represent them and was stifling investigation into them and was receiving campaign donations from them. And Kelly Loeffler is now Donald Trump's small business administrator. So, also Sprecher received funding from Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, BP, Total, Shell, Deutsche Bank, and something called Societe Generale, which I think is just another bank. So it's just all the fucking bankers again.
Yeah. When is it not?
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's crazy. Did you by chance hear anything about the Trump letter that came out last night?
No, I don't think so.
Ooh,
or wait, is that the one with the doodle?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Trump doodle. Let's read, for those that may have missed it, let's just read a little snippet and let's discuss it, man, because that's pretty much hot off the presses, with some people saying it's complete bullshit. Obviously the MAGA base, and even other people are saying that it's bullshit, but there's also stuff to kind of corroborate it. and we'll go over it. So this is from USA Today, July 18, 2025, by Rex Hupke. Trump to sue Murdoch over Epstein letter. Without Fox News, Trump is toast. This is on the op-ed. The unfolding Jeffrey Epstein scandal has frightened and flailing President Donald Trump, turning on his own supporters and in a major escalation, threatening to sue Rupert Murdoch, the father of Fox News. I'd love to see how that works out for him. Trump's anger at Murdoch stems from a new Wall Street Journal report on a creepy birthday note Trump allegedly sent to Epstein, the convicted sex offender who died in jail awaiting sprawling sex trafficking charges. The Journal reported that the note featured a drawing of a naked woman with Trump's signature, mimicking pubic hair, and included the line, "May every day be another wonderful secret."
What the fuck?
What the fuck, bro?
That's weird.
It's super weird, bro. And then it goes, if Trump takes on Murdoch over the Epstein scandal, Trump will lose. Let's see. Trump, of course, denied he wrote the letter and apparently tried to get the newspaper and Murdoch himself to kill the story. The fact that they published the story tells me all I need to know about who to trust in this case. And it sure ain't the guy who lies constantly about crowd size. Obviously, it's an op-ed, so and obviously they have a bias. But see, this is what I want people to recognize. Just because you may disagree with some shit, it's got a different ideological slant. Does that mean everything they put out is garbage? Absolutely not, man. And we're gonna touch a little bit on some of the Russian collusion shit at some point, I'm sure. And so I want to keep people in mind, because Seven and I, we don't have any ideological leanings, man. We just want to go wherever the truth may lie. Sometimes it might lie somewhere on the right wing spectrum of shit. Sometimes it might lie on the left wing spectrum of shit. You know, it's important to get rid of that fucking left right bullshit paradigm.
Yeah.
When you look at stuff through that left right binary, you're going to be blind to other shit, man.
Yeah.
And that's the issue. And so if at some point we bring up some left leaning rags, does that mean we're fucking lefties? Absolutely not. You can get some good shit out of it. And so one of the things with the letter, with the Trump letter, apparently he said some words and Trump said that he never used. I can't remember exactly
the word enigma.
Enigma. But Breaking Point's actually found a couple of times where he has used the fucking word enigma on a couple of occasions. So let me play. Here's Trump saying enigma. Now, questions in enigma. Wait, I think I have it too. I have it. Oh, no, it's not sped up.
I don't know why I expected it to sound like when he says China and him be like enigma.
From 2015. Yeah, let's go play it. Let's play it.
Oh shit! It's playing on my fucking Bluetooth speaker, so you couldn't hear it, right?
I could barely. I was trying to like lean in like that was gonna help.
My bad. I had it on my Bluetooth, so I'm gonna put it on the computer now. Where the fuck?
I think it's playing on your phone.
Yeah, it is. God damn it, man.
Bottom right by the volume slider.
Yeah, it's playing on my phone. I'm trying to get the fucking Bluetooth off my phone. Yeah, I was listening to it earlier. Okay, let's try it again.
Oh, it's still got your... So, over by the volume in Spotify, there's that little, like, square.
Oh, yeah, to play it on the...
Yeah, you gotta swap it to the computer.
Oh, okay, here we go. Now it should work. God damn it. I apologize for that. All right.
Okay, so that's twice that he says, go ahead and play it. He's never doodled. That's just...
Now, caution's an enigma to me. I didn't say it. Caution's an enigma.
Okay, so that's
twice.
But he says it. They pulled up a couple of times where he's at least said the word enigma, which he claimed he doesn't use or It's not in his vocabulary. I call a bunch of horseshit, man. I mean, this dude fucks around a lot, and I've talked about it in the past. These guys were best friends for 15 years. Oh, these guys were best friends for 15 years, and they lived within walking distance of each other.
Yeah.
It's a 5-minute drive in car, a 25-minute walk from Mar-a-Lago to Jeff Epstein's house. I put it on my Twitter. I don't know if you saw that little footage of me going to Epstein's old house.
Yeah. I remember that, dude. It took you what, like 10 minutes?
Well, they knocked down Jeff Epstein's old house, and they were building a brand new property.
Yeah, okay.
But so I went from Mar-a-Lago and I went right to Jeff Epstein's old house, and it no longer exists anymore. But the point of the matter is I think I saw Grok. Someone asked Grok,
right here.
Was
Oh no, okay.
Yeah, it was different. It was how close was Trump to Epstein, and they were like, well, he wasn't very close. Trump kicked Jeff Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago. That's one of the common fucking things MAGAs always say. And my rebuttal to it is they were extremely close. They might have had beef later on, but they were extremely close at one fucking point. How close must you be to fly in each other's personal planes?
Yeah.
Think about it that way. I mean, I don't have a fucking personal plane, but I have to imagine it's not like you're getting in someone's car, man. You're getting in someone's fucking private plane. Think about it. I don't think that's something that a lot of people ever really conceptualize or absorb. This is how close they were. I mean, Bill Clinton flew on the goddamn plane over 28 damn times.
Yeah.
And Trump flew on his plane 7 times. And even though it's less times than Clinton, it's huge because Trump has his own fucking plane. So if he owns his own plane, why the fuck was he flying on Jeff Epstein's plane to begin with?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
To keep his air traffic number out of the records.
It's ridiculous. And the other thing is, well, he didn't fly to Little St. James. I don't give a fuck. You don't think they did anything right there in West Palm Beach?
Yeah.
Down the street from Mar-a-Lago? You don't think they did anything up in the Manhattan mansion?
Yeah.
Where Prince Andrew always spent the weekends there?
Howard
really
Lutnick,
Prince
neighbor?
Andrew was there playing checkers and shit?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here, man.
Also, too, like, to put it into context, do you remember when Hillary Clinton was under investigation and Loretta Lynch went on to that private plane with Bill Clinton? They didn't even take off. And then, like, a day or two later, Hillary Clinton's found not guilty.
Yeah.
And all the people from MAGA were like, look, you know, they're doing closed deals on private. That plane wasn't even in the air. Imagine all the deals and everything that they're talking about while they're flying. If something like that can be done in a 5-minute, she got on the plane, they talked for like 5 minutes, she got off, and then Hillary was found innocent. And if that can happen, I mean, look at how long they've been, you know, tied up with each other. How many flights do you think that they were on together?
Yeah.
I would guess probably at least 50 to 100 over the years.
It's entirely possible.
Yeah.
It's entirely possible. And these are just the ones we have on record, man.
Yeah.
You have to imagine all the ones that, I mean, you really think these fucking people, especially when they're scumbags in the shit that they're dealing, you really think they're going to keep inventory or do everything the legit way?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you have to imagine it's probably a lot more than that.
Well, another thing that's crazy is, let me see if I can find this, because there is, I guess Robert Maxwell owned part of the, like, air traffic control shit. Let me see if I can find that, because I have it on here somewhere. While I'm doing that, though, did you see that Donald Trump Jr. Came out and was like, my father's never doodled? That's what this is about, right? So it says, in 47 years, I've never seen him doodle once. And then the community notes have just link after link of times that Donald Trump has doodled. Oh, that's the Enigma thing.
I know
Let's
some
see.
people that do naughty doodles. What the fuck?
There's all his signed doodles of the New York skyline.
Look at the one in the middle.
This one, this
That
like
one.
Starry Night looking one.
It looks like wieners on top of them buildings and shit. Like, what the fuck?
Fantastic. But yeah,
Even the one below it, dude.
Yeah, these are terrible.
See how that signature looks like pubes too, man. Like that one right there. Look at the bottom.
Yeah. I would love to see somebody like analyze the signature of Donald Trump to like show the narcissist. You know how they do those like behavioral studies of signatures and stuff?
Yeah.
I would love to see one of this. Of his wait, what's this say? So it says Donald Trump's drawings span several years with known pieces created in the late 1990s and early mid-2000s. Some sketches were produced for charity auctions in 2003, 4, and 5, and a George Washington bridge drawing in 2006. Epstein's 50th birthday was 2003. Showing like right in the middle of when he was drawing all this stuff.
When he was doodling and shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me see if I can find that thing where Robert Maxwell was part of that.
You know, and it also, someone made, I think some people that think the letter was fake were saying, why would Trump do this weird play, you know, weird poem? Like, why would he do that? Do you remember when Trump, there was a story where Trump was trying to get his name known. He was begging news reporters to interview him. He was trying to get that publicity, and he he was calling these big rags, using his own voice, but he was saying he was Donald Trump's assistant, trying to schedule interviews. And he was using this. He wasn't even changing up his voice, bro.
That's hilarious.
Do you remember that story?
No, I don't think I ever saw that.
Yeah, so when I hear these stories, like, that is weird. Why would Trump make his own play? Like, dude, there is a precedent of him doing this kind of shit.
Yeah.
He's a fucking weirdo, man.
Oh, so the Robert Maxwell through Maxwell Communications owned something called the Official Aviation Guide. And it's a global travel data provider with headquarters in the UK. The company was founded in 1929 and operates for the United States, Singapore, Japan, Lithuania, and China. And they're essentially part of like the reporting who's flying where and shit like that, so planes don't crash into each other. And Robert Maxwell's company was basically like part owner of that. And that alone gives him the power to cover up flights and different trips and stuff like that and obfuscate those things.
Yeah.
And it says that they partner with the largest GDS in the world, Amadeus and Travel Sky. And they have a strategic partner with like the SSIM Standards Board and all kinds of shit. So essentially, like, when you need like a global governing body for flights, think of it like the WHO of international airplane travel. And Robert Maxwell was partly in charge of that through his company. So
yeah.
I'm sure all those flights are gone, deleted somewhere.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's with a lot of these records and people getting excited about declassification records in regards to Obama or even the Epstein files.
Yeah.
Like, do people really believe that there was like a little Rolodex, you know, and on this day, I don't know. It's Looney Tunes, man. And I don't even know what to think about the whole Epstein case anymore, man. If I'm being completely honest with you,
yeah,
I followed it in depth for many years, man. That was one of the things that drew me into conspiracies. I was like, how the fuck did this happen? A fucking billionaire
Yeah.
that has blackmail on ex prime minister of Israel, Ehud Barak,
Mm-hmm.
a fucking royal Prince Andrew, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, all these high level celebrities. And this guy blackmailed them. That is insane, man.
Yeah.
Like anyone thinking that conspiracies don't happen, you just read up on the Epstein saga where he was involved in a $500 million Ponzi scheme in the 80s. His buddy, Stephen Hoffenberg, served 17 years in prison, something along those lines, over 15 years in prison.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Epstein, who was the mastermind of the Ponzi scheme, got a slap on the wrist back then in the 80s. And then he gets arrested in the early 2000s again. And all his high-level friends don't abandon him. Jeff Epstein is now a convicted child molester, for lack of a better term. And during his laughable prison sentence of a year, he was able to hold business meetings. He was able to leave the prison, and then he just had to spend the night in prison. What the fuck? So for people that want to dismiss conspiracies, the whole Epstein case was full of cover-up. It was covered up since the 80s and even covered up after his alleged death. But now, with all this shit coming up, man, I don't know what to fucking believe. What if everything we had been told of Epstein was complete bullshit, man? What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think it's absolutely possible because, I mean, at the end of the day, they're trying to claim that Epstein didn't traffic to anybody, but how did he make $1 billion? How did he make billions and billions of dollars? Why was JP Morgan then in like a case with him for all of the money he was making? Why was Elon subpoenaed in that case with JP Morgan?
Leon Black?
Yep.
Fucking around with Epstein? All these mega billionaires fucking around with him?
And, I mean, too, you mentioned the Ponzi scheme in the 80s. A lot of people don't know that Epstein was involved in the Iran-Contra affair, too. And that shit was covered up by Reagan, literally.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, the government, at least, and arms dealers and other, like, military-industrial complex were, you know, in deep with this guy enough to trust him to be involved with the Iran-Contra affair in the 80s. I think it was, like, what, 82? Something like that. And so I'm almost wondering, did Reagan go to Epstein's Island?
Yeah. Maybe they all did. It's just, so I guess the conundrum, and I like to see what you think or if you've had similar thoughts. The conundrum I've been running into lately, like I said, man, I've been following this Epstein shit for years now, man. This is what kind of inspired me to do my show, man. What inspired me was I was getting pissed off how easy it was for people to talk about Bill Clinton and Epstein. Dude,
Yeah.
Everyone knows that. Even fucking Democrats know that shit,
Yeah.
bro. Everyone knows this. But no one was really going down the Donald Trump Epstein ties.
Yeah.
And that's why I started my little damn show, as little as it was, fucking just by myself, thinking only a couple people. If 2-3 people listen to the show, I would have been fucking stoked for that shit.
Yeah.
But that was my inspiration. No one was really doing it, and I wanted to fucking do it. And so I feel I'm pretty well versed on it. I'm not no fucking Whitney Webb, no John Brissom or any of that shit by any means, but I'm pretty damn well versed in the whole thing. And now with everything coming out, man, if I apply my logic that I use for a lot of other things, the way I look at things is, if I see it on the news, my immediate question is, why am I seeing it?
Yep.
Why am I hearing about this? I don't care what it is. I immediately start asking why. Why? And so if I apply that same logic to all things Epstein, damn, I have to reassess everything I knew about Epstein. What if everything we were told to that, oh, this is for a fact what Epstein was doing. This is what Epstein was doing here. This is what Epstein was doing. Why was I allowed to know that?
Yeah.
And now we're getting told, oh, there's no Epstein files. It was all a hoax, is what fucking Trump is saying. It's a Democrat hoax, which I call bullshit. I'm not going along with it one bit, because none of this shit, like I said at the very beginning, should ever be considered. As soon as I start hearing partisan bullshit, I call bullshit on the whole thing.
Yeah.
This was a bipartisan fucking cover up and wrongdoing, if the story is accurate, anyways. But
Well,
that's where I'm at, bro. I don't know what to think about Epstein anymore if I'm using that same logic. Why was I allowed to know these things?
if you want my honest and personal opinion, I think that the sex trafficking is going to be used to cover up everything that was going on under Zorro Ranch. I think that they were doing like transhumanist, like Nazi type experiments on people under there, and I think he was like mass impregnating women with like IVF and doing CRISPR and gene editing and really, really dark shit under there. So they let everyone know about the child trafficking so that they don't realize that all of these people are in bed with somebody that's literally experimenting on people. That's my theory, is that they are releasing the most I guess like dramatized part of the story so that nobody realizes like he's, you know, helped. He was involved with people that helped orchestrate 9/11. He was involved with like the technologies that led to like mRNA vaccines and stuff. He's part of like the gene editing stuff and all this IVF artificial womb shit. And I think that they're just basically trying to, hey, let's look at all the child trafficking and nobody look at all this other stuff. And when really we need to be looking at all of it in its totality.
Yeah.
Because he ends up like, that shit is dark. Who is it? Like Virginia Giuffre and the other lady that is still alive. She just recently spoke with I think it was Blair White of all people. Which is kind of weird, but
yeah, I mean, there's so many. Sorry, I'm trying to. You just mentioned George Bush, or I'm sorry, George Bush. Jeff Epstein with 9/11. What was the connections that you were able to find? You're saying with people involved with 9/11, or
yeah.
Okay.
So
Because a lot of people forget that Jeff Epstein had this one crazy fucking painting of George Bush playing with the Jenga towers and throwing paper airplanes into them. That's what I'm trying to pull up right now. And it's a Snopes article trying to say that the claim is unfounded. What the fuck are you guys talking about, unfounded?
yeah.
This is a picture Jeff Epstein had hanging around, just like he had Bill Clinton wearing a fucking blue dress
Yeah.
in his house. But this one has always interested me, that Jeff Epstein had a picture of George Bush. If you're listening on audio only, so what we're looking at on the screen is a picture drawing of George Bush seated like a little kid with a paper airplane and a collapsed Jenga tower on the ground, symbolizing, in my opinion, planes crashing into the towers. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that shit, man? Maybe it's the connections that you're gonna tell us about, but what the fuck is all this about?
I mean, I sort of see it as like, you know, they always like to brag about the things that they do, and they do tend to hide them better in like public facing media. But I think, you know, when it comes to the thing with George Bush, it's like, this is how I humiliated this guy. And then with Bill Clinton being in the dress, I think that was like a nod to like he was a womanizer, and that's how they got him. And I think, like, you know, if they were to have one of Obama, it would probably be like Obama eating a hot dog that is like coming off of Big Mike's body or something.
I like how you said coming out. Yeah, man.
But
those are pretty good doodles, I must say.
yeah, absolutely.
But it's Yeah, I mean, you're basically what you're talking about is predictive programming, pretty much, right?
Yeah. Yeah, because
A form of it.
well, I almost think that he had them commissioned like sort of after the fact, as like hey, look what I did kind of thing, and then everyone that was in on it would come to his parties and be like, haha, look what we all did together, and just laugh about it because they're sick in the head, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the whole picture of Bill Clinton. I'm gonna see if I can pull that up. Bill Clinton in a dress
Yeah.
is insane because think about that. You're going to a Jeff Epstein party for tea and crumpets or whatever the fuck they did over there. Tea and butt plugs, maybe. And you look up in the guest room or wherever they had this fucking painting. It's fucking Bill Clinton in drag, bro. Like, what was that about?
Insane.
Humiliation?
That's what I think.
I don't know, man.
I think, because it's like, you get like, normal people get like paintings commissioned of like a self-portrait or like their family or something. And that's typically like the thing that they care about most. And Jeffrey Epstein does it with all the things he uses to implicate presidents, which is, I think, what he cared about most. But just to kind of like slightly touch on, oh my God.
To the left is the artist that made the painting. And apparently that was on Twitter and they were saying that the artist doesn't care that his picture was on Epstein's wall. I don't know, some shit like that. But
insane.
I don't know, man. He looks like he was partying with Epstein as well.
Yeah.
He's got that whole vibe going on. But yeah, that picture was hanging there in Epstein's home. And I believe Epstein went to the White House on like 39 times. He was a guest at the White House, which is kind of funny because I posted when I went to DC a few months ago.
I remember that.
Myself, yeah, talking to a Secret Service agent. I go, hey man, what do I need to do to get a spot, to visit inside the White House? Well, you got to talk to your senator and your congressman. Like, he gave me the whole fucking spiel, like the whole process. He goes, yeah, and it might take
6 weeks.
Fastest I've seen 30 days or fucking 3 months, whatever.
Yeah.
And you can get in there. And I go, that's cool, man, but how the hell was Epstein able to go in 39 times? And yeah, he just laughed, and it almost seemed like he knew what I was getting at.
Yeah.
And he was a good sport about it, but it was super interesting. And fascinating how the world's most notorious pedophile could just go in and out of the White House, especially when you see how the security and everything around it is,
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I look at, all the stories that we've had come out about Epstein and people around 9/11, right? So you had Howard Lutnick, who was literally Epstein's neighbor in Manhattan. He had Cantor Fitzgerald working out of the Twin Towers, and he just so happened to miss 9/11, and then Howard Lutnick's brother dies in the collapse. You also had like Paul Bremer, who had Marsh and McLennan that was in the North Tower on 9/11. And Paul Bremer, after 9/11 happened, ended up leading like the entire Iraq war and getting the contracts for like Blackwater and stuff to go into Iraq and Afghanistan. Paul Bremer had a really close relationship with like Alvin Krongard and super close with Eric Prince. Alvin Krongard was appointed by George Tenet of like the CIA, DCI, NSA, DIA, shit like that. And Alvin Krongard was actually the guy that helped start In-Q-Tel, the CIA like funding stuff. Who else was? Peter Thiel barely missed 9/11. He's wrapped up with Epstein, Ehud Barak, Donald Trump. You had Roloff Botha, who was like a super heavy investor in Google and went to like Jeffrey Epstein's Edge conference. He also apparently just narrowly avoided 9/11 when he was traveling with Peter Thiel. And Roloff both are like, funded Google and YouTube and all kinds of other like left-leaning companies. And was right there with like Sergey Brin and Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk at the Edge conferences. Who else? You have Brock Pierce, Epstein. He's like the number one guy behind Tether and super connected to Howard Lutnick. Howard Lutnick basically helps like facilitate deals with Tether. And Tether's like the official crypto of Rumble, which is Howard Lutnick, Peter Thiel, Vivek Ramaswamy, JD Vance and shit. And so, I don't know, man. It seems like this emerging pattern of people that are associated with Epstein that just so happen to barely dodge 9/11, that are all super fucking successful now, and somehow either tied into like military intelligence or institutional banking, or basically all the same fields that Jeffrey Epstein was a part of. And now they're the super successful ones. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, you mentioned Howard Lutnick. That's someone that's been hanging around Trump quite a bit. And Howard Lutnick was a neighbor of Epstein's as well.
Yeah.
That doesn't really get mentioned, man. The amount of people around Trump, whether during the second administration or during the first term, that are connected to Epstein, dude, it's fucking bananas, man. If we go back to the first term where William Barr, AG William Barr, his dad is who hired Epstein out of college, no degree or nothing, into the prestigious Dalton School. And the dad wrote this weird fucking pedophile alien novel. Super weird shit, man. And tied to Epstein, Steve fucking Bannon, was also heavily tied with Epstein. Doesn't really get that much coverage, man. And maybe we need to hit that, because Steve Bannon is like this. What's the show he puts out? The War Room with Steve Bannon. He's America's voice, trying to rile up MAGA. He was pretty much the architect for the whole QAnon bullshit, the whole MAGA movement, if you really want to put it that way. And I have an interesting personal thing, and I mentioned it to you I think it was yesterday or whenever we plan on doing the show. But it's going to tie into the whole Russian collusion shit.
Okay.
This is going to be something that some people might get uncomfortable with, but I want to share some thoughts, man.
All right.
It ties into the whole MAGA shit in many, many ways. So when the whole Russian collusion was hitting big, a lot of people, I'd say most people in the truth community, were saying, oh, it's just a left-wing hoax. It's just a left-wing bullshit.
Yep.
Trump is now using that to his advantage by calling the Jeff Epstein shit the Jeff Epstein hoax. He's tying in Russian collusion with Jeff Epstein hoax.
Yeah.
That's what he's pivoting and using, if you're paying attention. Now, I was one of the very few sons of bitches that saying I wouldn't completely dismiss the Russian collusion shit at all. The ties that Trump has had with Russian oligarchs over the years, including selling a Miami property that was worth like 50 million, and he sold it to a Russian oligarch for in excess of 100 million.
Yep.
Double its appraised value. That was a damn Russian red flag. Another one is Melania being introduced to him by Epstein.
Yeah.
No one talks about it. MAGA never talks about that shit. And then we have a personal little story. Steve Bannon and the Russian mob. Many of you that have been following me for a while know that I used to do residential garbage. I knew all the routes out here in Sarasota, Florida. And I used to do Casey Key. Casey Key has lots of pretty big names out here in Florida. Stephen King lives at the property on the very north end. I've seen that Epstein homie quite a bit when I did the routes. But in learning that route, doing that residential route, my partner, who had been doing that route for 10, 15 years, he knows all the people on every day of the week. They all say what's up to him. They all love him, whatever. He knows everyone. He's been doing it that long. You know, when you're a garbage man, you're doing the same fucking house every week for 15 years. You know everyone.
Yeah.
And I remember early on when I was learning the route, he would tell me like, hey man, this house right here, man, this one's sketchy, dog. This one's sketchy, bro. I've seen motherfuckers with AK-47s lined up and shit. He goes, man, the Russian mob lives out here, dog. And I was like, damn, all right, I'll keep that in the back of my head. I won't fuck with these guys.
I'll take the trash and move on.
Big ass Miami Vice looking mansion. But anyways, so fast forward to make my long story short. Fast forward to when Steve Bannon was managing Trump's campaign. Steve Bannon had to put in a mailing address. As soon as I saw Casey Key, I'm like, holy fuck, that's in my backyard.
Yeah.
What fucking address is this? Took the number down and everything. Next time I hit Casey Key, I'm doing that route. I'm looking for that address. I'm like, oh shit. All right, the numbers are decreasing. Oh shit. Don't tell me it's that fucking house. And yes, it was the Russian mob house, which was Steve Bannon's mailing address. That is not something you will find any newspaper report on that or nothing. This is a personal fucking anecdote. I'm just saying it is pretty crazy. So it was little shit like that. The only other journalist that really covered that in depth was Daniel Hopsiker, the late Daniel Hopsiker, who died of cancer a couple years ago. He did a lot of shit, but he was coming admittedly from a partisan, you know, he was kind of a hardcore Democrat type of shit. Who did a lot of work on 9/11. He did a lot of work on the hijackers out here in Sarasota, Florida. Where I live, man, it's a lot of money and a lot of crazy shit that goes on here.
Yeah.
But just to make that final point, that the Russian collusion, I never completely dismissed it. I'm not saying it was all true. I'm just saying it wasn't all fake either.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Seven?
Well, I agree in the sense that it was kind of blown out of proportion by the left to just try to make it as bad as possible. But I mean, you had people like Dana Rohrabacher, who he's like super close with like Vladimir Putin and even like Oliver North. They're close. Dana Rohrabacher worked on the Bill Clinton impeachment with Bill Barr's father. Dana Rohrabacher is like very, very pro-Russian. He was one of Eric Prince's mentors. And then you also have to remember the tenant media thing that happened at the same time, where, okay, so it was proven that Russia is paying our influencers. And then you had people like Mike Flynn, who testified that he was working with people from Russia and having conversations with them and trying to do deals with them. And that came out, he admitted it and was found guilty and got pardoned for it, for lying about it. Donald Trump pardoned him for admitting that he was actively like discussing shit with Russian intel operatives. And Mike Flynn ended up becoming his like NSA director for a while before he got fired. But
and not only that, Mr. Flynn is a key cornerstone figure if you believe in trusting the plan and the QAnon bullshit.
Yeah, him and Steve Bannon and Alex Jones, like they all appear on each other's shows all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, and interestingly enough, Roger Stone, when was it, a couple of days ago, talked about Steve Bannon's friendship with old Epstein, which was kind of fucking weird.
Yeah, well,
what were your thoughts on that?
Do you remember that Steve Bannon had like, what was it, 16, 17 hours of like filmed interview that he was supposed to release and never did?
Yeah.
I think that was just a front. I think he was telling people he was doing interviews and he was literally just like going to hang out with Epstein.
I mean, the other possibility too is that they have some shit and it's I don't know, man. With AI the way it is too, what if it's all AI bullshit? Just like they released that fucking doctored footage of the jail cell, of Epstein's jail cell.
Yeah.
It's been proven that the metadata was all fucked with. I didn't believe it for one bit.
Yeah.
As soon as it came out, because they said first we were told that no such footage existed.
Yeah.
And then
That
all of a
was
sudden, oh
hilarious.
no, we have the product.
Yeah.
We just need to clean it up. And it shows nothing. This product showed absolutely fucking nothing.
Have you seen that like deep analysis that they've done where they've found like they went through it frame by frame and found that some frames were like duplicated and like moved out of place and some were like just completely deleted, and it ended up actually being like closer to 3 minutes than the 1 minute that they initially reported?
Oh shit, I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, let me see if I can find that.
That'd be interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know. I mean, we're living in a day and age. You don't think these fuckers have ways to superimpose a fucking timestamp? For all we know, this video could have been done just last week, or a couple of weeks before they announced, oh, we've got the product. We just got to clean it up for you. Bongino even said they had to clean it up for us.
Yeah.
They couldn't give us the raw footage. So I knew it was going to be all bullshit. It ended up being a nothing burger.
Yeah. And I don't think that we're ever going to get like a definitive release of like a video of him killing himself. Because I don't think it happened. I think he's still alive, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, same thing with Maxwell. I know this is like fringe thinking, and some people were like, oh man, I was with you guys, but then you guys talked about Epstein being alive and all this shit. Dude, people need to remember, we're living in times where they fake Trump assassin. They'll fake a presidential assassination. They fake a fucking moon landing. They fake the Boston Marathon bombing bullshit. They fake and fake and fake shit, man. So why is it far-fetched to think that Epstein is even dead or Ghislaine Maxwell is actually in fucking prison? I have a hard time believing that shit.
Yeah.
I mean, the pictures that we've seen of her, she's got this one infamous mugshot where she's in jail and her hair's done nice and good, no grays are showing through.
Yeah.
And then in one interview, she does it with a green screen. I didn't know you can fucking do green screen interviews from fucking prison.
Right?
Since when was this? So there's many questions. One thing that I've been thinking, I wonder if there's a play in motion where I think I said this last week after I had Nick Bryan on, but with Trump saying that there's nothing there, forget about Epstein, move on.
Mm-hmm.
You're wasting your time. He pretty much pulled a Bill Gates. Remember when Bill Gates was asked on, I believe it was NPR or PBS or some shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, what about your Epstein ties? And Bill Gates like, well, he's dead, so who cares?
Yeah.
Trump did essentially the same thing the other day. He's like, he's dead. He's been dead a long time. Fucking forget about it. So with them trying to push and saying that there's nothing there and it's nothing but a left-wing hoax, the Jeff Epstein left-wing hoax, whatever, is there a play to get Ghislaine Maxwell possibly a pardon? I mean,
think
she's
so.
sitting in jail. She didn't do nothing wrong, apparently, allegedly.
Yeah.
She's innocent. I mean, the victims will might have a thing or two to say about that. You know what I mean? The little kids that were fucked around with. But I don't know, man. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I was it's actually funny. The other day I was watching The Last American Vagabond. He had Charlie Robinson on, And Charlie Robinson at the end of the, like, somewhere in the middle of the stream said, I wonder if they're going to end up making Ghislaine a victim in all of this. And I was like, holy shit, that's probably what they're doing. And then, like, an hour later, her family released a statement asking them to re-review the case. And I was like, they're gonna fucking do this, dude. They're gonna make it to where she was just a victim of the Democrat Obama DOJ, and it was all just like a ploy to make it seem like Epstein and her were, you know, compromising all these people, just to, like, not let Donald Trump win the election. It's so ridiculous, dude.
Someone in the chat asked, Mr. Trev, that's my boy, how do I know you and 7 ain't AI, Weezy? Green screen even shows on 7.
Yeah.
Good point. Good point.
The green screen is to hide my dirty room.
Oh shit. Oh damn, man. They're coming after you, bro. 7 season Maxwell roomies.
What? No.
What is going on here? What the fuck? Come on, chat. Behave. They're just having a good time.
Nah, it's all good.
Yeah. That's the thing, man. We did a show a couple of weeks ago calling everything fake and gay, but that's where I'm at, dude. I don't know what to believe anymore, man.
Yeah.
I'm open to it all, even the more seemingly outlandish. The last show we did the Sandy Hook trial.
Yeah.
And you know how trials can be faked and shit like that.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about Epstein now. The whole trial seemed staged and faked. We weren't allowed to see cameras of the whole proceedings. They were kept hush hush. And this idea that, oh no, that's bizarre. There's no way in hell. I know that jail, they couldn't have made him escape. You know, it's complete fucking horseshit, man.
Yeah.
These things happen all the fucking time. I think it's the opposite. I think it's batshit crazy, the things that are always on the up and up, especially when you're dealing with a dude that had the track record of getting away from all this shit, like in the 80s when he was involved in that Ponzi scheme.
Yeah.
Slap on the wrist. Early 2000s, a child pedophile, abuser, whatever. Slap on the wrist. You could go home during the day, come back and sleep at night.
Yeah.
This motherfucker got away with all kinds of shit. You mean to tell me that they couldn't, if they really wanted to sneak him out of jail and fake a death, they couldn't do that? They fucking hooked them up in the past.
Yeah.
You had the Secretary of Labor, Alex Acosta, saying that he was intelligence and it was above his pay grade.
Yeah.
This is the Secretary of fucking Labor. What the fuck? Saying this shit.
I think I think essentially it seems like they're far enough along in their, like, biodigital technocratic, like, convergence stuff that I think what they're honestly trying to do is use this as a way to keep everybody's attention on this, so that all of these bills, like the Genius bill just passed and nobody's talking about that. And, you know, you have like what's the other one that's coming out? I think it's called like the Safer Act or something like that. And that has to do with like digital surveillance and the Golden Dome, and they're basically trying to get like a bunch of sensors in space that real-time detect like atmospheric changes and missile launches and stuff, and they're trying to put one on both sides of the country, and all this shit's just passing that's like building up this technocratic state, and everyone's just only focused on Epstein. I think they're doing that on purpose. I think they're making a spectacle about it. They're going to drag their feet as much as possible. There was a statement by Trump yesterday that said that he was going to like open it up to Pam Bondi to release like the grand jury testimony, but that they were going to leave it in the hands of the courts. Now, here's my theory as to where that's sort of going is, do you remember back in April when JD Vance and Trump were trying to say we need to be able to bypass the courts in order to get rid of all these immigrants? They were saying, like, we can't have due process. It's going to take too much time. We need to get them out of here. We need the president to be able to overrule, like, district courts and stuff like that. Do you remember that?
A little bit. Refresh my memory.
So, essentially they were saying we need to be able to deport 20 million immigrants immediately, and they don't have time to like go through a trial, so we shouldn't give them due process, even though technically that's like the law of the land, whether you're here legally or not. Everyone, deserves their opportunity to plead their case and shit and argue against the state. And now, a couple months later, Trump is now putting the ball in the hands of the court. And if they block it, then he is going to have the grounds to bypass the courts with probably overwhelming public support. So that could be what happens.
I mean, anything is entirely possible. I wanted to play the clip of I don't know if this is the most recent.
Oh yeah, standing right next.
This is the most recent MAGA fuck you to his base.
Yeah.
I know you've urged people to move on, but I'm curious, why do you think your supporters in particular have been so interested in the Epstein story and so upset about how it's been handled?
I don't understand why they would be so interested. He's dead for a long time. He was never a big factor in terms of life. I don't understand what the interest or what the fascination is. I really don't. And the credible information's been given. Don't forget, we went through years of the Mueller witch hunt and all of the different things, the Steele dossier, which was all fake. All that information was fake. But I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff. It's sordid, but it's boring. And I don't understand why it keeps going. I think really only pretty bad people, including fake news, want to keep something like that going. But credible information, let them give it. Anything that's credible, I would say, let them have it.
Who's the guy on the right?
That is Howard Lutnick. That was Epstein's neighbor. That was the guy that had Cantor Fitzgerald in the 9/11 towers. That is the guy that helped IPO Rumble. That is the guy that works with Brock Pierce and Tether. That is the guy that is part of the Chabad Lubavitch sect of Judaism that had Trump go to...
You got webs on him?
I have him in webs, but I don't have like a full web on him. But you remember when Donald Trump went with Ben Shapiro to the Rabbi Schneerson grave and shit right before Elon joined MAGA? The guy he went with was Howard Lutnick. And I'm convinced that Howard Lutnick is Donald Trump's Chabad Lubavitch handler.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that creepy in that clip? He's just right there like, yep, who cares? And Trump said it like 3 or 4 times in that 1 minute clip, like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Who the fuck believes that? Of course the motherfucker understands, which is what makes the whole thing wilder. Trump knows damn well. I mean, you could say whatever you want about him, that he's a fucking idiot and a narcissist and all this fucking shit, but he understands his base.
Yeah.
He also, so he has to know how fucking infuriating it must be to his base that he's downplaying all this shit. He's like, I don't understand. He basically called the base that wants Epstein files pussies.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are weakling and all this shit.
Called him stupid, I think, too, right?
Yeah. Why is this happening? What are your thoughts on that?
I'm almost wondering, so this kind of goes into like the Kabbalah and their belief system and stuff like that, right? So it says that the Antichrist is allowed to proliferate for I think it's 42 months or like 3.5 years. and cause like all sorts of damage and construction or destruction and shit like that. And then
You're good, bro. You are good. I thought I zapped, so I had to go to the Rumble. I'm like, we're still streaming.
yeah, no, for some reason, ever since I switched to Linux, I don't know if there's like unnecessary power draw going on my computer or something, but it's like once I get going for an hour or two on streaming, there's a 50-50 chance that everything in my room, like my whole room just goes black for a second and then everything comes back. It might be because it's so hot, man. I'm like sweating in my room and stuff. Might
Yeah,
finally
it was
get me without the blazer for once.
Without the blazer. Yeah, man. I was just giving some shout outs to the people in the live chats. Hell yeah. 7 is the one who broke the Cankle story. Is what people are saying.
That was really funny. I don't know if you saw.
Yeah, I
but
saw it. Maybe we need to show the people what we're talking about here. I'll go to your.
We absolutely should, because
Oh my goodness, here we go.
those,
All right, everyone. These are Donald Trump's ankles. He's got the biggest cankles. The most wonderful cankles you've ever seen. Oh my god, dude.
oh, like,
What is going on here?
so what
For
you
the audio listeners, what are we looking at?
so what you have is you have two very nicely polished shoes that have been filled to their absolute capacity. Like you can hear them stretching if you look at the picture. And above that, you have what looks like 2 bags of basically somebody took raw dough and put it in pantyhose and put the feet of those pantyhose in the shoes and let the dough like spill over. And then right beside it, you have a nice little bottle of Diet Coke, which I'm assuming has been one of the leading contributors to the state of these legs for the past 80 years.
Yeah, that's a fair enough description. I guess I would liken them to just some fucking I don't even know, bro. These are straight up cankles. These are classic cankles.
Yeah. You can't tell where the leg tapers for the ankle, and it's just straight down.
Let me get my shoes.
Yeah.
Let me get my shoes, god damn it. Yeah, man. Very fascinating cankle story that Mr. 7 broke today on X.
It's funny because someone was like, there's a McDonald's joke in here, and I was like, I've got it. His foot doctor says your arches are terrible, and Donald Trump says, actually my arches are golden, because McDonald's and the golden arches.
They pair excellent with my golden showers. Oh, that was just left-wing propaganda. That was nothing real to golden showers. Trump would never stoop to something so low as that.
Yeah.
Never. I have reservations about that. I don't think that was entirely false either. I wouldn't put it past. He's a crazy motherfucker, bro. He probably had some Russian hoes say, "Piss on me, bitches. Piss on me."
Well, so what's crazy, and a lot of people don't put this into context, but Robert Maxwell worked extremely closely with both Israel and the Russian government. And
yes.
Epstein was his #1 guy, and Epstein was really close with Trump. I don't think that, that, and then the Mike Flynn thing and the Steve Bannon stuff and all of this proximity to all these people that are like very heavily tied to Russia. I guarantee you, I'm under the impression the piss tapes are real at this point.
Yeah. I believe they were real when they broke out, and people thought I was nuts. And,
Yeah.
Oh, you just got TDS. I'm like, I don't know. Dude, have you heard the motherfucker talk? He's crazy. He's a wild son of a bitch, man.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that infamous tape where he's like, when you got money, you can do whatever you want to women. You can just grab them by the pussy.
Yep.
That's classic fucking Trump, bro.
Yeah.
This whole this whole version that I think a lot of these MAGA folk see, where he's like, when he's at RPAC, and God saved me, God saved
Yeah.
me, like that's not even him, dude. That's a teleprompter version
Yep.
that you guys. That's the package that you guys have been sold. The real motherfuckers getting off the bus and I be grabbing bitches by the pussy. That's the real Donald Trump, man.
Yeah.
That MAGA doesn't want to accept. That's
Yeah.
the real fucking version, man. And we mentioned this last time, but it's important to reiterate. Donald Trump is far more liberal than Joseph Biden
Yeah.
was liberal. I would say Joseph Biden was more conservative. But the thing is, people trip out. People put too much value on a D in front of someone's name or a fucking R. No, put that shit away. Let's just talk about their principles, their values, their ideological leanings. Biden was far more conservative than Donald Trump ever has been. Donald Trump is a New York salesman, a fucking slimy, sneaky motherfucker that did a Ponzi scheme in which he paid over $20 million settling out of court for. This is fucking Donald Trump. It's crazy, man. But people have this weird fucking warped image of a. Have you seen that drawing of Jesus hugging Trump?
Yes.
And that's what some MAGAs believe. Speaking of images, go ahead, man. I'm going to pull up that image of the angel wings behind Trump on the Trump assassination.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we can start heading down that direction.
Yeah, I was going to say, speaking of the assassination, we have some new footage to look at.
Yes, yes.
And, at this point, I would love to get Jason Burmis and say, hey, so what do you think about this footage? And I don't know, see what he says.
Yeah.
I'm almost wondering too, like at the so to go back to sort of what I was saying right before my power went out. So there's like the whole prophecy that the Antichrist is gonna like run amok for 3.5 years, and I think they may be like positioning Trump to be that, so that JD Vance can come in and basically be like the guy, the no nonsense, no like ties to Epstein, no ties to the Rothschilds. He does have ties to Peter Thiel, but libertarians love Peter Thiel. So all he has to do is just play that up. And then, I mean, you think about the, oh shit, I lost it. Sorry. You think about, like Thomas Massey and Elon and all these people that are connected with like technocracy now, like trying to throw Trump under the bus. I feel like it's probably going to go that direction.
Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here. Fucking geek. What a fucking geek, that guy. Jason Burmis here. I do have the clip here now. All right, Jason Burmis, in the off chance that you're listening, I think he's scared, dude. He don't want no peace. He knows you get pieced up. But so early in the week, maybe I should have showed that image. Yeah, maybe that's what I'll do. Someone, I think you sent me this clip first, but
yeah,
quite a few people sent it over. All right. So this clip came out on X or Twitter, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And a lot of people were like, holy shit, this is wild. And for the audio listeners, it is cell phone footage, I believe, below the stage while Trump is down on the stage, and the Secret Service is huddled around him. And if you notice that all the footage, the photographers are being chaperoned by a Secret Service agent to get the right picture.
Yeah.
As well as you see the American flag get lowered, almost as if that's the shot that they wanted to get. So let's watch this clip.
President's been shot. Oh no. No. Either that or they're covering. We don't know. Either that or they're covering it. We love you. We love you, President Trump. We love you. We love
There's Douglas Mills right here with the bucket hat. This is the guy
you,
that popped
President
the
Trump.
magic bullet.
There
Look at the
is
flag
We love you.
getting lowered.
Yes. 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 We love you, President Trump. No. Oh, no, stop.
Look at this shit right here, man. So the Secret Service, for audio listeners, we're watching the photographers take their pictures as Trump posed and did the fight bullshit with the cat, with the fucking flag behind him.
Yeah.
And the Secret Service agent is like huddled around him, like giving him a VIP. I mean, for all we know, there could be an active shooter. Isn't what a lot of these MAGAs are saying, that the Secret Service was in on it
Yeah.
and they missed? So if that's the case, why is the Secret Service allowing these guys to stand up? You know, they,
Well, too, I'm wondering.
fucking stupid, man.
So they had that short lady that couldn't holster her gun, and that other short lady that couldn't cover up
Yeah.
Donald Trump's head. Why wasn't that guy on the stage instead of them? Why wasn't like the short lady that couldn't actually cover the entire president down there ushering the, you know, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, great point. And to add to that point, I mentioned earlier that a couple of months ago in April, I went to DC. I went to visit Ford's Theater and all that bullshit. When I spoke with that Secret Service agent about Epstein visiting the White House 39 times under the Clinton administration,
Mhm.
this guy was like 6'5", 230 pounds, super gigantic, fucking massive of a human being. That got me checking out every Secret Service agent, every single one of them, even if they were my size or bigger. They were all fucking roided out, fucking 20-inch biceps, just fucking massive human beings.
Yeah.
And they were outside the fucking building. But the ones right there with Trump, guarding his body, are these chicks that he could easily overpower? You put these other guys that were outside of the White House when I was there visiting, guarding Trump. Trump ain't getting up and doing no fight. If they want his ass down, he is staying down.
Yeah.
He ain't gonna overpower these motherfuckers. But what he has on the stage are like 3 chicks or 4 chicks and 2 dudes. Give me a fucking break. Why doesn't MAGA ever talk about that point? It's crazy, man.
I think it's strange when you're charged with protecting the president and you don't look like you can pass the presidential fitness test.
Yeah.
Also, so one thing that I find really peculiar is it's been an entire year since this happened.
Yeah.
And now this footage comes out
Yeah.
only after the election, only after, you know, the Epstein stuff starts snowballing. Now we get these new angles that also make it, I mean, in my opinion, just prove that it was faked. And where were these a year ago?
Well, the clips, so these clips, the next ones I'm going to play, they were out a year ago. It was by Tim Truth. If you see this right here, Tim Truth on Odyssey, this video's from a year ago. He got sent these clips. I tried reaching out to this son of a bitch, and he blocked me for some stupid gay ass shit. Can't even remember why, but just because he's a bitch in that regard, I'm using content from his channel because it's good fucking content.
Well,
it just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's
People
the same
can be
thing
bitches
with,
and have good content.
it's the same thing with like the left-right paradigm thing, and like
Yeah.
there sometimes, even if I disagree with somebody on 99% of things, I can still, push the one thing that I think is the truth, it doesn't mean it's like a complete endorsement of the person and everything they say. I hate when people do that. Like you'll repost something from one person and they're like, hey, they say something differently than you on this other topic, so you must endorse that opinion also, right? And I'm like, no, otherwise I would have shared that. Otherwise I would have put that out. And it's insane. You share one CNN article and all of a sudden you're a liberal or a leftist. You share one Fox News article and all of a sudden you're a Republican or a conservative. It makes no fucking sense.
And shit happens to me all the fucking time. It's so annoying.
Yeah.
I even get tired of it. A lot of times I don't even address it anymore. But yeah, 100%. Look at this bitch right here. She laughs. She's having a good old time. She's super sus. See, my theory on the crowd, I think there were some people that were legitimately there to see their President Trump, who had no fucking idea what was going on.
Yeah.
And then there was other people that were clearly knew what the fuck was going on. Maybe they were feds and shit. But like this bitch right here, she's recording, having a good time, smiling. Let's play this clip.
Okay, so now that we've covered the entire sequence, let's remind ourselves what happened just moments before the shots rang out. At this point, if there had been any cues, they had all been triggered. Look over there at the big...
He's going to play that clip over time, so I'm going to skip it. But as we see right here, here's the Secret Service agent. Trump is up here. He's about to say, now look at this chart, or, whatever his cue is. In my opinion, it's a cue.
Yeah.
To everyone get in position, and we're gonna do our role play, if you will. But we have this Secret Service agent right here, moving the photographers around. Here we go. Here's the photographers. So moments before the first gunshots ring, this guy's already telling them to get in position. That is fucking damning. So let's play it.
Were pushed to the front of the stage by Secret Service moments before the shots rang out. This screams foreknowledge. Watch this footage of the photographers being rushed to the front of the stage by Secret Service.
What happened to our country? Probably 20 million people. And that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
Did you see all of them started running before the first shot?
Yeah. Watch this.
See something that's said, take a look at what happened.
See it?
Yeah. Yep.
Why were they running before the shot?
Yeah.
Why were they...
Take a look at what happened.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Let's slow that shit down again. That is pretty weird. Okay.
That short's a couple of months old, and if you wanna really see something that's said,
And then he looks up, turns. Shot still hasn't been fired. They're all running towards the stage.
Yeah, that's interesting. That is interesting.
And another thing with this clip specifically is all of those photographers were stationed perfectly to be able to capture photographs of what they were doing behind the podium.
Yeah, by getting moved over here, that's how the magic bullet was able to get caught up and all this other bullshit. Yeah, it photo op.
Yeah.
I've been saying it's just nothing but photo ops. And then this other footage,
look at the arrow
to me, is another one that's damning. Let's see. Okay. So what we have here is another angle on the other side of the stage. Secret Service agent. And as soon as he said, take a look at this or whatever, if you really want to see something, he puts his left foot on that stair. He is ready to run up the stage. How the fuck isn't that damning?
Yeah.
Some people say it's nothing. It doesn't mean shit. What the fuck are you talking about? He's ready to run up stage
just
based on his cue.
Just like the other guys. You know,
Yeah.
it's like before the gunshot happened, they were already turning and running up on the stage. And then we have this other guy on the other side of the stage also preemptively moving. So now you have 3 people that preemptively moved before a shot ever rang out.
Yeah. Yeah. Here we go.
Chart. Take a look at the arrow on the bottom. See the big red arrow? Take a look at that chart. Take a look at the arrow on the bottom. Chart. Take a look at the arrow on the bottom. See the big red arrow? Take a look at that chart. Take a look at the arrow on the bottom. Chart.
That is fucking bananas, man. It's so obvious. I mean, we've been breaking it down how fake everything looked, you know, immediately and everything. But then when you see these other angles, it kind of going back. I mentioned that when people talk about declassified information and all this bullshit, I think all the real good shit's been destroyed. Now, in this situation, we still haven't seen any cameras from that side of the right ear.
Yeah.
We haven't seen any. And people were recording. There were a handful of people that were still recording. We haven't seen their footage.
Yeah.
Why not? Where is that footage? How come people never ask that question? Where is that footage? To me, it's very similar to the fucking still images we get for the Pentagon crash.
Yeah.
On 9/11. We get a couple of photo stills, which look like a goddamn drone, look nothing like a passenger plane.
Yeah. And well, you have to think like the Pentagon being like the headquarters for the United States military, you would think it would be the most heavily surveilled building on the planet. And I've seen pictures of the Pentagon where there's like cameras on the roof. There's cameras, you know, in the trees. There was the gas station across the street that had security cameras that were fixed right at where the plane crashed. We never saw those. And, you know, a lot of the times people ask me, well, you know, how could they possibly fake a shooting? And I'm like, 9/11, guys. They literally blew up multiple skyscrapers and killed thousands of people in the middle of downtown with news cameras on them and everything like that. They don't care about potentially maybe killing one guy. You know?
Yeah.
Collateral damage means nothing.
That's another thing that a lot of people that have a hard time thinking that this was staged will often say is, oh, really? You think it's staged? And yet Corey Compatore died or a couple people died. I'm like, did you forget about 9/11?
Yeah.
That 9/11 was staged and thousands died there.
Yeah.
And over 1 million or who knows how many innocent Iraqis died as a result of our government using 9/11 as a pretext to get us into Iraq. We're talking about millions. So you really can't comprehend of them killing 1 or 2 people.
Yeah.
For this fake Trump assassination. It's stupid. I don't know, man. It's stupid logic.
Well, I mean,
I don't understand how people don't see that.
Even more so, like, you know, let's look at Trump's base and their opinion on COVID and the COVID vaccines and how many people they will say themselves were killed by the COVID vaccines or the lockdowns or anything like that. And then realize that was Donald Trump. He was in power for that entire fucking first year of 2020. He signed Operation Warp Speed. He doomed all those people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the same guy he has no hesitations adding 1 more to that total to fake the shooting.
But 7, he didn't mandate it.
Well, you know, if there was nothing to mandate, then what are you mandating? You have to.
That's the stupid answer that they always give you. Like, it's so retarded.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's like you're dealing with little kids.
Yeah.
Sometimes with some of these, and I want people to know the devil's advocate, because a lot of us have seen these stupid answers getting thrown at us, and the correct way to answer is this way, or or just tell them, get the fuck out of here, man. I'm just wasting my breath on you. If you're too stupid not to think of ways to steel man your position, I don't know if they're worth the argument, man.
I always just return back with the question, who created the COVID vaccines that the Joe Biden administration mandated?
Yeah.
And then they're like, yeah, fuck you. I'm like, yeah, that's what I thought.
They get angry. Yeah, it was an interesting week for MAGA. I feel a lot of them really got pissed.
Yeah.
Now the people that got mad, like the MAGAs that are like, you know what, fuck that. I voted for Trump, to expose Epstein list, to expose pedophilia and shit. So their hearts were always in the right place.
Yeah.
And for the people that say, you know what, fuck this guy, man. He's covering up. He's clearly covering it up with his answers, him being evasive, and then calling us weaklings for just questioning it, for us wanting justice.
Yeah.
For Epstein victims. You're saying I'm weak? Fuck you. To those MAGAs, man, my hat's off. A lot of us have been fooled. I've often talked about, I fucking got bamboozled by Obama. I wanted hope and change. I thought, I was fed up with the way the Iraq war had gone on after 9/11 with George Bush and shit. I thought Obama was hope and change.
Yeah.
And now when I look at Obama, that motherfucker was one of the scummiest motherfuckers I ever run.
Yeah.
He was polished. He could speak a damn good talk in a lecture.
Yeah, it's I'll never understand it, man. You would think that, especially like the older crowd that have seen all of the fakery and all of the shenanigans, like if I was 20 years older, I would probably be 10 times more vocal about how fake everything is and how it's all, because I'd be tired of the theater and the politics. And you would think that after enough time of people voting for the right guy, that they would finally be like, okay, every single election things just get worse, doesn't matter. When's the last time that anybody who actually voted for the president in power, which, I think they're selected and elections don't matter anyway, but like supported the president, actually got something that was a win, something that was good for the people? Because it always seems like it's this revolving door, and the only wins you ever get is just them fucking with the other party. It's never like an actual measurable benefit for the people. It's always, some law, or I'm gonna, throw this person under the bus, or this person's gonna be in the news for a couple of days, and then nothing ever actually happens.
Yeah. And I think that was part of the psyop with the MAGA movement, through Steve Bannon and Michael Flynn and all this shit, the way they engineered this. I must tip my hat to them. It was genius, because through Cambridge Analytica, they were able to profile the perfect Trump voter, the base.
Yep.
Hey, man, you're a slimy snake oil salesman, but put these jeans on, put this red hat on, talk about Jeebus.
Yep.
We got these motherfuckers. And they did, man. They kicked a lot of ass. I mean, even Trump said it. One of his most honest statements of all time was when he said he could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue, shoot someone, and he wouldn't lose any supporters.
Yeah.
And playing to the whole idea of a deep state, and that the Trump and his cronies, everyone around him, no, they were different. They were coming in to dismantle the deep state. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That was clever. I have to give it to him, because it just it worked to a T. And now you have all these MAGA influencers, these propagandists, like a cat turd and so on and so forth, who do nothing but spew pro-Trump propaganda, continuously. You have a John Cullen type, I did a show with him on the Las Vegas shooting.
Mhm.
For those of you that are familiar, it's my most downloaded podcast episode of all time. I think there was a tweet that went super fucking viral, and that's what helped that. And now that I'm on that subject, number 4th on the top all-time list has crept up was the show we did on Joe Rogan, 7, just a couple weeks ago. Man, people really enjoyed that show.
Nice.
Yeah, that one's shot up to number 4th. But anyways, John Cullen is this guy who did a lot of work for or research for the Las Vegas shooting. I had him on a podcast episode, but I think the dude is full of shit. I'm just gonna say it. The dude worked at Oracle at one point. He claims he was an ex-Oracle guy. Oracle, I don't think you can be ex-Oracle.
No.
You know, it's kind of like CIA. You can't be fucking ex-CIA type of shit.
Right.
Once you're in, you're always in. But this guy has been pushing, John Cullen has been pushing that there were multiple shooters at Butler, Pennsylvania, and that there was a real attempt on President Trump's life.
Yeah.
Which I call bullshit. John Cullen has been posting on his little Twitter feed. He's got a pretty good sized following too, about how he's been right about COVID. He's been right about Las Vegas. He's been right about this and that. He's been right about the multiple shooters on Butler. No, motherfucker. You haven't been right about a lot of shit.
Yeah.
But he likes to push himself as this authoritative figure, if you will.
Yeah.
And this whole idea that there were multiple shooters in Butler, Pennsylvania is complete horseshit, man. If they really wanted Trump dead that day, there wouldn't have been no fight photo op, anything like that. He would have got up and tried to do his fight, boom.
Yeah.
Half of his head would have got blown the fuck off.
Yeah.
If there was a real attempt on his fucking life. Let's just be honest. Let's be real about it. This whole thing grazing, he got his ear grazed, is the stupidest fucking retarded shit I've ever heard.
Yeah.
I still can't fathom how people can see this fucking thing and accept it as real, as real life. It's fake. Just like the moon landings.
Yeah.
It's like fucking COVID. I mean, how many fake things do we have to go through? Just like fucking nukes. The nuke videos.
Yep.
The Trump assassination, all of it was fake and gay, man.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. I just got on my little diatribe.
Well, to kind of harken back on like the Epstein stuff, right? You know, I put Roy Cohn in the thumbnail, and I think like a very quick synopsis of like Roy Cohn and his relationship with Trump, and his background maybe can kind of paint a little bit of a picture for people. So, for those that don't know, Roy Cohn was the guy that was blackmailing J. Edgar Hoover of the FBI for years and years and years. He was Trump's mentor. He hosted parties at the Plaza Hotel, and he had underage boys and underage kids come in and party with high-level people, and he would get blackmail on them that way. He was really good friends with people like Louis Rosenthal, Sam Bronfman, and like the Italian mob, and a bunch of like Jewish billionaires. And that's where you got people like Meyer Lansky and Bugsy Siegel, and a lot of the people that were involved in the JFK assassination as well, and helped create like the modern state of Israel as it is today, that ended up becoming members of like the eventual Likud party. You had the IDF that were also involved. He was, you know, Trump's lawyer and mentor, and was basically Trump's in with this whole Jeffrey Epstein, Robert Maxwell sort of thing here. And I mean, there's pictures, there's multiple pictures of him with Roy Cohn. And so
Do you see that picture on the screen?
I do. Yeah.
Do you know who that Spartan guy is?
I don't.
Dude, look at him closely. That's Donald Trump, bro.
Is it?
Donald Trump is Roy Cohn's twink.
Is that so?
I was wondering why you weren't reacting to it. That's Donald fucking Trump.
What
with
the
Roy
fuck?
Cohn.
He looks like a woman.
Shout out to John Brisson of We've Read the Documents. He's the one that showed me this picture. I'm like, what the fuck? Look at that. Now, do you see Donald Trump?
The makeup, the eyeliner, dude. That's. Oh man. You know, I feel like all those guys that were saying we love you, Donald Trump. If they would see this picture, they would probably be like, you know, I'd kind of take that back a little bit.
They'd be in denial, bro. They'd be like, that's not my Donald Trump. My Donald Trump wears jeans and a red hat.
Yeah.
He's all man. Like, no, not right here. He's wearing eyeliner. Roy Cohn got him by the balls, almost not just figuratively, but literally, it appears on this picture. But
and so what are the odds that Trump has a very close relationship with not just one pedophile, blackmailing, well-connected mobster that's tied to Israel and all these things, but two?
No.
And I don't know, man. Like the fact that this guy was high up enough that he was literally blackmailing the director of the FBI for years and years and years, and basically using him as like a weaponization of their goals, their agendas, and everything like that. I mean, Epstein was just Roy Cohn 2.0. And Trump was with both of them. So,
yeah,
I don't know, man. It just, there's too many things that don't add up. Because even going to like his Wilbur Ross ties through the Rothschilds, and the fact that the Rothschilds bank literally bailed him out of bankruptcy in the 90s before he was ever huge celebrity and like doing The Apprentice, way before MAGA. And you don't just bail someone out with no expectation in return. You know,
yeah.
The Rothschilds have tons of money, but they don't give it away for free. That's why they're rich. And so what did they get in return for that? I don't know if there was ever any like reciprocal deal, or Trump ever wrote anything off for that. Nothing that's on paper, which means that he was then expected to do something outside of a financial deal. What could the Rothschilds possibly want Donald Trump to be on the hook for? And I think it was honestly this presidency.
Damn, dude. You got any webs on that?
Not
some of those hookups.
I do have the web of like the Trump admin that kind of talks about like all the people that have come into place since. But as far as like the deep dive, I have some stuff on his uncle, which actually reminds me, there's a very interesting clip that I sent you that Donald Trump said, I think it was yesterday or the day before.
Yeah.
And it's either a huge revelation that kind of blew my mind a little bit, or just an outright fabrication, and I can't really tell. But Donald Trump was talking about his uncle, and his uncle is like super close with like he taught at MIT and all kinds of crazy shit. He was super in bed with like the military industrial complex and things like Kleiner Perkins and the very first VC capital ever. And I heard him say this, and this was the first time I ever saw anything like this. And I was like, holy shit.
Yeah. Let's play this clip.
Chemical and math. That's a smart man. Kaczynski was one of his students. Do you know who Kaczynski was? There's very little difference between a madman and a genius. But Kaczynski, I said, what kind of a student was he, Uncle John, Dr. John Trump? He said, what kind of a student? And he said, seriously good. He said he'd go around correcting everybody, but it didn't work out too well for him. Didn't work out too well, but it's interesting in life. But I will say this.
So Donald Trump's very heavily connected to the military industrial complex and all of these like, you know, dark projects. I mean, he was in proximity with the people behind like the Manhattan Project. He was basically rubbing shoulders with like half of FDR's administration. He was mentored by a guy named Carl Taylor Compton, who was supported by the Rockefeller Foundation, the Sloan Foundation, which is just the MIT like slush fund, and the Ford Foundation. The Ford Foundation was like connected to all the eugenic shit, and they were funding both like the US military and the Nazis at the same time. Like, these are the same people that, you know, turn warmongering into theater. And the fact that John G. Trump was... So the biggest problem that we have right now with politics is people think that all these things are separate, like institutions, VC capital, the military, intelligence agencies, and politicians. They're all the same fucking thing. And, you know, we see that especially now with people like Peter Thiel, who with founder fund funds like everybody, all these tech companies, throws money at like politicians and shit. That model for setting up these VC companies to allow the military to fund companies through private entities. That was Donald Trump's uncle was the very first company to ever receive VC funding in like the modern era and have a successful company from it.
Do you have any webs on the uncle?
A little bit. A lot of it goes into like the Kleiner Perkins stuff. But
he was tied to Tesla, wasn't he, too?
Yeah, he was the guy that was put in charge of reviewing like Tesla's files and stuff after he died, and then started coming out with all of these like a radar company and like a high electricity generating company and all this other shit. But the Kleiner Perkins thing, they still exist today, and Eugene Kleiner of Kleiner Perkins was like basically responsible for helping to set up the Silicon Valley. He went to like Palo Alto and Mount View, California and shit, and helped set up like the first semiconductor laboratory that worked with Beckman Instruments, which worked on the Apollo guidance system and NASA and shit. And he was also part of like the Fairchild Semiconductors. He was an early investor in Amazon. He worked at another company. Let me see if I can find that really quickly. Because that was, I believe, on my Flynn web somewhere, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Kleiner Perkins. So, yeah, I mean, Kleiner Perkins has... okay, that was the wrong web. But they have... very, very deep ties to like the Silicon Valley stuff, and they helped fund like Sun Microsystems that ended up becoming Oracle. Sun Microsystems running out of Stanford and shit. But you had that going on. So all these tech companies are like getting positioned in California and getting set up. People like William Shockley and everything like that. And then you had Thomas Perkins, who was part of MIT. And he went to Harvard and shit, and he was mentored by this guy named Georges Doriot, who, along with Ralph Flanders, Carl Compton, and Vannevar Bush, were part of the American Research and Development Corporation, which was the first VC capital fund ever created, and it was created by the military. Yeah, Georges Doriot was part of the U.S. Military Planning Division. Ralph Flanders was the guy that was responsible for levying Congress to implement the World Bank and the IMF into our economy. He was part of the National Recovery Administration after the Great Depression under FDR, and part of the Flood Control Commission that started, that was involved with like the building of the Hoover Dam and shit. And then Vannevar Bush was the guy that basically convinced the military that we need to stop spending so much money on weaponry, and we need to start spending it on science and research and development. That was Vannevar Bush. He was the guy that was basically responsible for the military getting into like tech and science, like bioweapons and surveillance tech and satellites and all that shit. And he was part of the precursor to the Manhattan Project. He was part of the National Defense Research Committee. He helped start Raytheon. He was part of General Electric. He helped with setting up the Ames Research Center alongside NACA, which eventually became NASA. He was part of FDR's admin. He was a prominent part of the National Science Foundation and the National Research Council, and came from the Carnegie Institution for Science. He worked pretty closely with John G. Trump on a lot of his like tech and his radar stuff and shit like that benefited the military directly. And so you had all these people that were all surrounding Trump's uncle and also the Tesla stuff. And I think that that's really, really interesting, especially considering like where Trump is now with like Space Force and basically consolidating Palantir into the military. I think that essentially what's going to happen is by the end of this term for Trump, most of big tech and government are going to be largely like indistinguishable from each other. I think like Oracle, Google, Apple, Amazon, all of these main tech companies part of Operation Stargate, a lot of their I don't know if you saw, but Trump swore some of those people in as like official members of the military.
Yeah.
And it's just insane that, a lot of this stuff never really came up in like conversations that I've had with other people. And I had never seen any of this prior to this year as far as like looking into all this stuff, because as the only thing I had ever heard from Donald Trump's uncle was he was the guy that was given Tesla's secrets after his death. And then, after that came like weird theories of like time traveling and his son Barron being in that book from like 100 years ago or some shit. And I was like, none of that seems like anything worth pursuing. But all of this shit, like knowing that his uncle was literally the guy responsible for allowing the military to pretend that companies like rise to power and success when it's all faked. I mean, that and the Roy Cohn shit, the Wilbur Ross shit with the Rothschilds, the Jeffrey Epstein shit, the Howard Lutnick shit, everyone that's in his administration now, Operation Warp Speed, you had the bump stock ban, you had J6. I mean, I don't know how many, like, I would consider them smoking guns it's going to take for people to give up on this guy, but it's ridiculous. Like, you just sit there and you list it off and it's like, I mean, I could have kept going,
But I think that's where the profiling, that's where I think they did a good job. Who was going to be the hardcore Trump supporters?
Yeah.
And that's who they went after. And I mean, even after a fucked up week that Trump had, with the whole Epstein debacle, him doubling down, tripling down, saying like, fuck you guys. It's all a hoax. Who gives a shit about Epstein? And he still has some hardcore motherfuckers that are still there.
Yeah.
Like they're going along with what he's saying. Like, I voted for the economy. The Epstein list doesn't affect me. I'm like, are you listening to what you're saying?
Yeah.
You were just a couple of months ago, you guys were talking about an Epstein list. You wanted an Epstein list. But now because Trump is telling you, don't fucking worry about it, forget about it. Oh, yeah. All right. I mean, a lot of these people were the same ones making fun of lefties, calling them NPCs.
Yeah.
And here they are displaying NPC behavior. Whatever Trump says, they fucking follow. Trump says jump, how high is their response? And it's almost like some people say it's cult-like mentality, and it really is, man.
Yeah,
it's no different than how lefties was with their masks, and you're gonna kill grandma.
Yeah,
keep your 6 feet distance, and how cultish a lot of these leftards were. And now we're seeing with these hardcore MAGAs, man. Whatever Trump says, they're right there.
Well, too, do you remember when a lot of people were basically rallying against Trump, especially like after the Butler thing happened, and all of the right who complained about cancel culture for years and years and years started like doxing these people and calling their work. There was like a lady at Home Depot that I guess like posted something on Facebook. She was like 60, 70 years old, about how she didn't like Trump or, you know, whatever the fuck. And they were like calling her job and got her fired and like canceling all these other people on behalf of Trump. Do you remember all that? Like
No,
Laura
man, I
Loomer.
don't.
Yeah, like all the Trumpsters were right after the assassination attempt or whatever. A lot of people were like, you know, I'm glad someone went at him, or, you know, should have finished the job. And these people were like, all right, well, we're gonna find out who you are. We're gonna make sure you get fired. And I'm like, holy fuck, you've become the thing you hate. And I think that like flipping like that so drastically is, it's just a testament to how fucking brainwashed they are. I mean, I'm at the point now where if you call yourself a patriot, I assume you have a mental illness. That's where I'm at anymore.
Yeah, the whole idea of being called a patriot is something I dropped quite some time ago, because the way when I hear, I guess for me, being a patriot is being okay with your government false flagging you,
Yeah.
killing your fellow citizens to advance their agendas. That's what, in my mind, that's the way I've come to view being a patriot is. You're supporting the whatever the agenda is being pushed.
Yeah. I mean, I'm you know, I am under the belief, just from everything that I've researched, and like I tend to be like a big picture kind of guy more than like getting, you know, I might like misremember a detail or something, but I tend to think that I'm pretty good at like zooming out and looking at things for the entire picture. And government in and of itself is just tyranny. Like, I don't understand why people don't get that. It's like, okay, so there's a group of people that aren't you. You didn't get to pick them. You don't get a say. And if you don't listen to literally everything that they tell you to, they will kill you, they will throw you in prison, or worse. That's tyranny. Like, if by the very, I don't care how free and open the government is, threatening my livelihood, my life, my freedom isn't freedom. Period. And I'll never understand that.
Yeah. Oh, excellent point. Let's see. So I pulled up Mr. John Cullen. This is the guy I was talking about earlier. This guy's so high on himself. But he made this post. I don't even follow the motherfucker anymore. But he made this post. Already has 236,000 views. Has a picture of Trump wearing a ringmaster outfit, I think.
Yeah.
You know?
Like a Barnum and Bailey type.
Yeah, and it says, none better ever. You have no idea what's really going on. You never have. So John Cullen is a straight up fucking Trump-tard. John Cullen, as I mentioned, made his name from the Las Vegas shooting. Let's go back. Who else made a name for themselves during Las Vegas? Oh, shit. Laura Loomer.
Yep.
Jason Goodman.
Yep.
They're all fucking Trump-tards. Maybe they're pushing Trump agendas. So this guy's, he's been, this is what he calls his receipts. The Vegas shooting and helicopters. I'll give you some of that. You did decent work there. Okay.
Yeah.
The H7N9 bird flu pandemic.
Never happened. Where's that?
This dude's full of shit there. Let's cross that one off the list. April 2020 extinction level event. That's what he claims happened for the COVID bullshit. Let's cross that out. Full of shit here.
We didn't even get the vaccine. The virus was never real, and we didn't get the fucking vaccines until the end of the year or beginning of 2021.
The DOD funding biolabs in Ukraine.
That's true.
Fuck out of here.
But the DOD funds everything everywhere.
This isn't. He's trying to say that all this shit is his work. Like, he's so high on him. So
Yeah.
Let's see. The vaccines weren't for SARS-CoV-2. What were they for then, John Cullen? They were for. It's hard to explain, but this guy's so full of shit, man. And then here we go. At least 2 shooters in Butler, Pennsylvania. Get the fuck out of here. There was no 2 shooters.
Yeah.
It would have killed fucking Trump if there was 2 shooters.
Well,
I kind of feel like trolling him, man. Maybe we should start hitting up his Twitter and be like, and see if he wants to debate us on the Butler thing. It'd be fun.
I'm down. I normally don't do debates because I have a very high bar for, okay, so you want me to believe something that I can't believe based on research, and you have to bring like a high level of evidence. Like with aliens, a lot of people get hung up on the fact that I don't believe in aliens, and I'm like, dude, every single thing that I see about aliens, especially the fact that like they're doing congressional discussions, like congressional hearings on aliens now, and you have people like Mike Benz who pushes like the alien thing super heavy and shit. I'm like, until I see an alien in person for myself with my own eyes and I can like interact with it, I'm gonna be skeptical. But I think it's healthy to be skeptical of everything. And when you start asking like deeper questions on people's evidence, they can't really ever like go into detail enough to convince me. And that's what pisses me off.
Hey, good points. Good points. John Cullen, ex-Oracle guy, allegedly. 140,000 followers. He blew up after the Trump shit. He blew up with MAGA because he was pushing that the Secret Service was in on it. I would love to debate John Cullen on this, on his bullshit theory. But see, I don't think he would do it. I think he would be like Jason Burmans, because I don't even think I think they know that it's all bullshit, but their MAGA base eats this shit. This is their red meat.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that I would ask John Cullen, if he's so sure about his whole theory that the Secret Service was in on it, I would say, well, how come Trump has only praised the Secret Service? He hasn't admonished them.
Yeah.
He hasn't talked shit about the Secret Service. He said they did a phenomenal job. Mr. Cullen, what is your reaction to that? I would love to know his answer, to his answer to that question.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be a very good one, but enough of that fucking Looney Tune. I just I don't know. I saw one of his posts the other day and it kind of pissed me off. I was like, man, fuck John Cullen. Good stuff on Las Vegas. I'll give him that. But everything else, fuck that, dude. He's a fucking idiot.
Well,
and I'm with you, man. I feel the jab itself was the bioweapon. And shameless plug, but tomorrow I have Dr. Jerry Waters. He's an Irish doctor, and he lost his medical practice because he refused to give the COVID jab. Think about that. A fucking medical doctor.
Yeah.
That said, nah, man, fuck that jab. It's gonna kill people. It's gonna fuck people up. I refuse to give it. And he was stripped of his practice. So that's tomorrow. But I want to ask him. I want to ask him what he thinks about viruses in general.
Mm-hmm.
What his take on COVID in general. I've heard him on other shows. I've been binge listening to some of the shows he does, and he goes pretty deep.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to hear what he has to say. But yeah, man, I'm come to believe that the whole COVID narrative was fake and gay and staged and pushed by the Trump administration. Trumpers will say that that's what hampered his administration the first time around. Poor guy. He didn't realize he was going to have to deal with COVID, and those demon rats were all against him, blah, blah, blah. He was fulfilling his role, man.
What
are your thoughts on that?
No, I'd absolutely agree. I think, you know, especially when you look at like all the people that have, all the people.
This fucking faggot, dude.
Yeah.
He's been talking shit all day in the live chat. I'm gonna call him out. You know what, Weigel? Gargle my nutsack, you fucking homo. Fuck out of here.
But no, you're good. I think it's interesting because it seems like a lot of the stuff that happened like during Trump's first presidency is how so many of the people that are prominent now rose into like fame and shit. I mean, you look at like the Laura Loomers, you look at the anti-vax movement and shit, and the fact that they're all just basically subsidized by intelligence agencies and the CIA and Israel. You look at like Jack Posobiec, and you look at I don't know, at all those people that have gotten big since Trump's first term, and it was all from different reportings from stuff that were just other psyops. And so they raise themselves, or they get raised up into prominence reporting on bullshit, pushing bullshit, and then they get so many followers. I'm assuming it's all like bots and click farms and shit like that. Health Ranger, you know Health Ranger Mike Adams? He got banned on Facebook in 2020 because he was using click farms and post farms in like North Macedonia and India and shit like that. You know, he's still super big, and he got famous from like the anti-COVID shit. And it's just like it seems like we're surrounded by people that are propped up on a pedestal of fakery, and I'm almost wondering if they're like MK Ultraing us by having us question, like, you know, how are people still following this shit, and how are people still, I think it's like a manufactured consensus kind of thing, where they're tricking all of us into thinking that a lot more people support it than they actually do, and like support these people and support the narratives and support Trump.
That's crazy, because that kind of touches. Did you hear about that poll that came out? Supposedly, Republicans are more in favor now that Trump is saying, screw the Epstein list, ignore it. You know, the way he's handling the Epstein list has only increased his support amongst Republicans.
Yeah.
And if I realize that not all Republicans are all on Twitter, but if you base it off on Twitter alone, that's a bold-faced fucking lie. I mean, it seems like well over half of MAGA is like, fuck you, dude. I didn't sign up for this shit.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes in line with what you just said, where they just throw out these poll numbers and they're all fake. You know, they're trying to manufacture a consensus or for whatever narrative they're trying to push.
Yeah. There was actually a pretty good post from Dr. Jack Cruz the other day. I think it was yesterday, and me and him disagree on some stuff, but it's like that thing where it's like when you see good information, you want to share it out. And I'll break down like the first part of it really quick, because it lays a lot out here. There's some things that weren't mentioned that I wish they would have been. And there are some things that I didn't expect him to say that he did. And I thought it was really neat. This touches a little bit back on the Epstein stuff, but he says the real bombshell isn't that Epstein ran a trafficking ring. It's that he was allowed to operate it because of bankers like JP Morgan's Jamie Dimon was complicit in this, and people would begin to ask how and why bankers and the Treasury allowed this, given the 1970 Bank Secrecy Act. The billionaires are not the architects of this information terrorist network. They're the actors in the play. Elon, Thiel, Gates, Adam Back. Adam Back was one of the original guys that claimed to be in contact with Satoshi about Bitcoin. Michael Saylor, Howard Lutnick, Howard Lutnick's son, They run infrastructure. They don't own the worlds. They were groomed by systems older than corporations. The real owners, the Royals, the Grey Pope, BlackRock, Vanguard, BIS, all own all the assets. The Vatican, Rockefeller, Rothschilds, and DuPont own the timeline. The WEF, CFR, Council on Foreign Relations. I really wish he would have put the Council for National Policy in here as well. And Chatham House, write the scripts. Political think tanks and foundations enforce ideology. And I'll stop on that point for just a second, because that is so much of like what people don't understand about the way that things work with politics is that you know, when we get an explosion of illegal immigrants, right? That's not Joe Biden's fault. That is NGOs and nonprofits that get paid to bring immigrants over here in mass systematically, and they get funding from billionaires and corporations and political parties and all that shit, and they essentially all get together and they're like, how can we advance this agenda? And then they start doing it. And what the Council of Foreign Relations does is they handle all the think tanks on the left. So all the ones that push like the trans ideology, and, you know, like an example would be, there's a think tank that's set up that says like, we need to save migrants, or we need to save people in Haiti from like the warlords that are killing them, or whatever that looks like. So we need to start importing those people. If you care about people and you want to help, donate to the cause, blah, blah, blah. And then they get money basically laundered into them by these billionaires to make it look like a lot of people want this to happen. And then they now have the money and the fake like buy-in from people to then pressure politicians and the public to go along with certain things. And then the other one, the CNP, will come in and say, look at all this chaos that the Democrats caused. And then they will do the exact same thing, but to like, you know, increase national security and increase surveillance and go to war and things like that. And, you know, when I point out things like the Heritage Foundation or Open Societies Foundation, you know, people are like, oh yeah, that's George Soros. I'm like, yeah, it's George Soros and also a lot of other people. And then there's subgroups under that. And think tanks and foundations actually like help steer the narratives a lot more than any politician does. They work with like marketing and PR people and all kinds of shit. And I think that's important because he's right about them saying like they enforce the ideology, because Donald Trump's entire platform was basically just the Heritage Foundation. The whole, you remember when the Democrats were like, Project 2025, Project 2025? That was real. And it is concerning, but they had lost so much credibility from all the drag queen stuff and everything else that people were like, oh, whatever, you're just blowing shit out of proportion again. It's another Russia hoax. It's another Epstein thing. But it's very true. You know, I think to like the Sloan Foundation, the Rockefeller Foundation, the Ford Foundation, and all this other shit. And oddly enough, I'll put a pin in my point to come back to Sesame Street later. And we'll talk about that. But he says, occult orders and Straussian elites justify it all as destiny. This is not capitalism. This is a technocratic theocracy where power is hidden in these information terror networks and their algorithms, law, debt, and narrative. They don't fear elections. They fear recognition by the masses. And I was like, damn, that covered so much of what is actually happening. And the only other point in here that I want to make is like, you know, talking about all these psyops bringing people into popularity. I think of people like Julian Assange and Edward Snowden and Jacob Applebaum and shit. All of them are connected to like the crypto shit and the cypherpunks from the early 90s. And all of them are tied to Epstein. Like Edward Snowden was a contractor at Booz Allen Hamilton, which is responsible for developing direct energy weapons, at the same time that he was working at both the CIA and NSA. And yeah, so that whole like controlled disclosure that happened with Snowden was, we're going to tell you a little bit about what's going on, and we're going to say that everyone's mass surveilled, not only as a revelation of the method, but also so that people wouldn't look into the other stuff that was going on, like the Israeli contracts and, you know, the Mossad operations that were happening. It was all just NSA bad guy, USA bad guy. And it's like, yeah, that's absolutely true, but there's so much more to the story. Glenn Greenwald handled that, and he handled Julian Assange and Jacob Applebaum and Bradley Manning, and now, you know, what was it, like a month or two ago, he got that whole video released about him, and he was talking about how Palantir used to target him, but now he has an exclusive contract with Peter Thiel's Rumble. And Julian Assange was part of that. I think that was to like sow chaos in the world, to like show how much the United States military and the Democratic Party and people like George Soros and Hillary Clinton sort of fuck up like third world countries all the time. And that was to like, you know, basically incentivize those countries to harbor negative sentiments towards us. The Bradley Manning thing was all about like trans rights. You know, he was a dude trying to like get put in a woman's prison, and because he was a whistleblower, a lot of people felt sorry for him, and all that shit's just like created by all those think tanks and shit. Insane stuff, man.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy when you think about it that way, that it's just psyop layered on top of another psyop, layered on top of another psyop. Yeah, the whole Snowden thing just seemed fake from the very get-go. I mean, here's a guy that's living in Russia, and he's able to do these fucking podcasts from there. Supposedly he's banned from coming into the country and all this. I just never really bought it.
Yeah.
Now the Julian Assange one, I did buy into it. I will admit I did get duped into that. And then after a while, I was like, okay, free Assange, and then he gets released, and then the motherfucker doesn't talk, doesn't say shit.
Yeah.
They raised, what was it, like $500 million for him, you know, for an airplane ride out of the country, and none of the story ever made sense. And I just remember a short time back, James Corbett, the great James Corbett, said, hey man, before you guys get excited about Julian Assange, remember he's the one that said that if you question the 9/11 story, you're a fucking idiot. You know? Kind of like how Trump is anyone bringing up Epstein is a fucking idiot. Along those same lines, I guess. It's a multifaceted psyop that just continues on and on. I know you had some other interesting little nuggets, or maybe did you have any webs that you wanted to bring up, or?
Let me look through some stuff here. See what I got. I think I might know who is buying TikTok. That doesn't matter to most people, but
are you on TikTok by chance?
No.
Yeah, me neither.
I'm good on all that. I only use Twitter. Like I have a Substack I don't use. I have an Instagram I haven't been on in like a year or two. I just care about getting the truth out there, man. And there's way too many fucking platforms. I wish there was something you could use to like integrate all of them and just post from one fucking thing, but doesn't happen. They make them just
it sucks, dude.
Yeah, they make them just different enough.
Well, and my first little blow up was when I was on YouTube solely. I was fucking blowing up, man. Monster live streams. And I got shut down, and now I'm relegated to this little platform, just a bunch, and it fucking sucks, man. It'd be nice. Let me just fucking grow on one platform, have everyone there, have the whole community there, but not have the people that follow you on a bunch of different fucking channels. It's a pain in the ass. I get it, man. It just sucks. But I think it's done by design. to shut people like you and I down, so we can't get that reach for our audience.
I do have one thing that I could kind of go over. There's this new political action committee that's called the Shake PAC, and their entire thing is they're trying to push stable coins. Like, they're totally behind the Genius Bill. They're like donating to politicians and different other PACs and groups and shit, like Center for American Progress and things like that. And the Shake PAC is, I mapped it out, but I haven't actually like done a stream on it or anything. It is a lot of fucked up shit coming together.
Let's check it. Ooh.
All right.
What do we have here?
So
Shake PAC, bro. That's what it's called, bro.
Yeah. And so basically what they're trying to pitch is like they're going to fix the economy with crypto and give everyone a fair shake, right? That's we're on a rigged monetary system dirty, now. Yeah, dude.
Fair shake, bro, while they're fucking you in the ass.
And so the biggest donor currently is Ripple Labs. Ripple Labs was started by Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson. Brad Garlinghouse was part of AOL, which was Stephen Case. Stephen Case is part of the Revolution group that helped fund Anduril Industries with Peter Thiel, which is that drone company that, Palmer Luckey's like a super staunch Zionist. He says it. Like, he calls himself a ravenous Zionist. That is a quote. His sister is married to Matt Gaetz, by the way. But also, Brad Garlinghouse is part of Silver Lake Partners, which is basically just David Rue left Oracle and started Silver Lake Partners as like a VC capital. They're currently invested in something called NXP Semiconductors, which co-owns NFC technology. So all NFCs everywhere, the tap to pay, the touch to, or like tap to share, all that shit is owned by NXP Semiconductors and Sony. They also have most of the government contracts for our electronic passport systems. They are a joint venture with Philips Electronics. Philips Electronics was started by Karl Marx's brother or cousin or something like that from the Soviet Union. And then you have KKR & Co., which is Ken Melman from the GameStop shit. Or no, I think that's someone different. I can't remember exactly. But Ken Melman is very, very close with the Trump administration and Peter Thiel. Bain Capital, which was Mitt Romney's thing, and they helped to facilitate deals with BCM Software and Elliott Management, which is just the Manhattan Institute, and Paul Singer. They fund people like Bill Ackman and Chris Rufo and Billy Crystal and shit like that. Douglas Murray is part of the Manhattan Institute. I don't know if you saw what he said about Epstein today.
No, what was that?
He said something along the lines of like, why should I care about the Epstein thing, or why nobody should care about it, or some shit. The Bain Capital thing was also heavily tied to like Mitt Romney, and they also helped basically broker a deal with this company called Athena Health through Hellman and Friedman. Hellman and Friedman are super fucked up because you have Tully Friedman, who was part of the Salomon Brothers, the Salomon Brothers were the main tenant of World Trade Center 7. And they were also responsible for the junk bond crisis back in like the 90s. They did that with Drexel Burnham Lambert, which ended up restructuring and becoming Apollo Global, which that's where Leon Black comes in with Jeffrey Epstein. Drexel Burnham Lambert used to be Michael Milken, who got a pardon from Donald Trump in his first term, and Nigel Farage, who was part of Brexit. And then what else was he a part? Brad Garlinghouse was part of Yahoo, which is now owned by that same Apollo Global Management. And then you have Chris Larson. Now, mind you, we're still just on Ripple.
Yeah.
So Chris Larson was the guy that created e-loans so that people could start first getting loans online, and helped create the free FICO credit score system.
What the fuck, bro? That's wild.
Yeah. So the thing that they literally use for social credit for us on like an economic scale, that was this guy.
Yes.
He helped get all that shit out. He also owns Credit Karma, which is part of Intuit, which owns TurboTax.
Yes.
Intuit is a joint venture between Scott Cook and Tom Prio, who went to Stanford together, and a guy named John Doerr, who it was so prevalent at Stanford that they named a fucking school after him, the Stanford Doerr School of Sustainability, and he was on the President's Council on Jobs and Competitiveness. Well, he worked at a little company called Kleiner Perkins. The same fucking company that's surrounding like Donald Trump's uncle and the military industrial complex and shit. And John Doerr is also part of the Giving Pledge, which was Bill Gates's, like, all the billionaires come together. It was Bill Gates, his wife, and Warren Buffett. The Giving Pledge also has received donations from Jim Simons, who worked on Renaissance technology with Robert Mercer. You'll know the Mercer family were responsible for Cambridge Analytica. You have obviously Bill and Melinda Gates, Elon Musk. You have like Jeff Bezos, Larry Ellison, Erwin M. Jacobs, Carl Icahn. Carl Icahn was responsible for helping to fund PayPal when they first started. You have Dustin Moskovitz, who was part of Meta and really close to Mark Zuckerberg, who has also given money to the Giving Pledge. You have the Bezos family. So many billionaires that have given to this. A big group called the Jewish Future Promise, and so on and so forth. You can look up the Giving Pledge and see like how much money flows into that and shit like that. It's all directed by basically Bill Gates, and it's used to like push his fucking vaccines and all that shit all over the world. Where was I at? Let me go back to Ripple. So Chris Larson was also part of the Electronic Privacy Information Center, which did the Public Voice Project with Open Society Foundation, the Markle Foundation, like that Markle, and the Ford Foundation, who owns Open Society Foundation, but George Soros, who is also connected to Mark Andreessen and Jules Kroll. Jules Kroll is actually a very interesting character when you get into the 9/11 stuff, because he owned the company that was responsible for cleaning up the World Trade Center towers.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. And so that's just Ripple. And then you have Solana Labs that gave a donation. You have Kraken. You have Zappo Bank. You have Jump Crypto. Jump Crypto is actually interesting because it's Jump Investors, which was this guy named Randall Kaplan. And he was not only part of Sun America with Eli Broad, who came from the Giving Pledge as well, but Randall Kaplan was part of this thing called Akamai Technologies. And Akamai was super influential for getting like Israeli and Tel Aviv headquartered technologies into all of our big tech companies. And this Daniel Lewin guy, who was one of the co-founders of Akamai, was apparently, allegedly, one of the guys that fought the hijackers on 9/11.
Get out of here, bro.
Swear, you can look up Daniel Lewin right now. Go ahead and Google it.
All right.
Google it. And he did that with Paul.
He grabbed Muhammad Atta in a headlock.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, how do you spell his last name?
It's I think it's Lewin. It could be 2 L's. I might be mistaken on that.
American Israeli mathematician and entrepreneur?
Probably, yeah. Click on it and see if it says anything about Akamai Technologies.
Does he look like a fucking weirdo?
Yes.
Oh, the Israeli American 9/11 hero.
Yep.
That's him.
Yep. Yep. So
All right.
yeah, so Akamai Technologies was basically an Israeli operation front, but along with him, you had Frank Thomas Layton, who went to MIT. You had George Conradis, who basically helped with BBN Technologies that owns Raytheon. He also is on the board of directors of fucking Harley Davidson and IBM. Paul Sagan, part of the World Economic Forum, and General Catalyst Partners, which is David Fiaclo, who also ran the MIT Corporation. And it just gets crazy, man, because eventually you get to the point where you get to Peter G. Peterson. That's a guy I want to bring up. So this Peter G. Peterson guy, I had no idea who he was before the other day. But this guy sat on the Council of Foreign Relations. He was U.S. Secretary of Commerce under Nixon. He was part of the Blackstone Group, which is what spun off BlackRock. That's where BlackRock came from. He was part of the Lehman Brothers, who did the contracts for contact tracing during COVID. They also had Warren Hellman work there, who was from the Hellman and Friedman from the from all that other shit that I was talking about earlier. But he was so he was connected to a lot of different shit, and essentially he married the lady that started Sesame Street.
So is this where the snuffleupagus comes in at some point?
So do you remember the whole Big Bird was supposed to go on the Challenger and didn't?
Yeah, dude.
That was part of the fakery. And now, you know, I think back to just earlier this week, the whole Elmo thing, how apparently Elmo allegedly got hacked. And I'm like, wait a minute. So Sesame Street is basically directly tied to a guy that served under Nixon, helped with BlackRock, Council on Foreign Relations. I have a list of everything else that he did. Let me see if I can go find that really quick, because I was like, holy fuck, this guy's done so much stuff, and I'd never heard his name before. Let's see, where is it? Right here. Okay, so I'll list off everything he did. Sat on the Council of Foreign Relations and was the chairman right after Rockefeller from 1985 to 2007. That's a long fucking time. He co-founded and chaired the Blackstone Group the same year, 1985, which also went public right when he stepped down from the Council of Foreign Relations in 2007. Contributor of the Giving Pledge. His foundation works with the Heritage Foundation, American Enterprise Institute. AEI was what Purdue used to fight the opioid crisis narrative and try to like blame victims and shit like that. And Center for American Progress, which is working with the Shake PAC that we're looking at right now. He was go ahead.
The live chat is just making jokes. They're saying the names on there sound fake.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Peter Peterson.
Yeah.
They're like, where's Pat McCrotch? Bend over.
Fantastic. He was also the chairman and CEO of the Lehman Brothers that I mentioned earlier. And the Lehman Brothers, Cohn and Loeb. He was invited by philanthropist John D. Rockefeller III, Council on Foreign Relations Chairman John J. McCloy, and former Treasury Secretary Douglas Dillon to chair a commission on foundations and private philanthropy, which became known as the Peterson Commission. So the commission that decides what foundations and think tanks and nonprofits and all that shit get set up, it was created by this guy, Rockefeller, CFR, and the Treasury.
Yeah.
He was a trustee on the Committee for Economic Development. He was the founding chairman of the Institute for International Economics, which is now called the Peterson Institute. He was the chairman of the Federal Reserve of New York between 2000 and 2004, while 9/11 happened. He sat on the board of the National Education Television Committee when his wife was pitching the show Sesame Street. He was a trustee of the Rockefeller family's Japan Society and the Museum of Modern Art, which is owned by the Rockefellers, and was previously on the board of Rockefeller Center Properties. And his wife still sits on the board of his foundation to this very day. And I had never heard of who the fuck Peter Peterson was until like 2 days ago.
Well, now that we're on the Sesame Street subject, Elmo got into some issues this week on X. Here's a little sample of Elmo.
Let's see what Elmo did.
What have you done, Elmo?
Well, Elmo wrote his own song. There's nothing I think I want to hear it.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Nigga, how Hitler? Nigga, how Hitler? They don't understand the things.
Amazing.
Man, Snuffleupagus was all lip in that shit. He's like, hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
Give me some of that. Hitler.
Yeah,
man. Go ahead.
I think it's crazy. Like when I saw Elmo was trending, I thought like maybe they were writing him off the show or the voice actor died or something, and then I just see like Nazi shit everywhere. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And then I did some research and I was like, oh, that's what's going on.
God damn it. Dude, so I pulled up that Wikipedia for Daniel Lewin.
Yeah.
And yeah, dude, here's the death and legacy. Lewin was reportedly stabbed aboard American Airlines Flight 11 during its hijacking in the September 11 attacks while traveling to a business meeting in LA. A 2001 FAA memo suggests he may have been stabbed. Let's just observe what they're saying. A 2001 FAA memo suggests he may have been stabbed by Saddam al-Sukaimi after attempting to thwart the hijacking. According to the memo, Lewin was seated in business class in seat 9B near the hijackers Mohammed Atta, Abdullah al-Aziz al-Lamari, and al-Sukaimi. Initial reports indicated that he had been shot by al-Sukaimi, but the final draft of the memo omitted all references to gunfire.
Weird, right?
Interesting. Pretty fucking weird. So, hey, we're gonna put some gunshots in it. Oh shit. Redact that. Let's take away the gunshots.
Yeah, that's really gonna hurt our box cutter nerd.
Yeah. Oh shit, I thought I had the fucking I was just reading the Wikipedia. That's on the Wikipedia. And then I guess I could pull up this one now that I can't have it. The Giving Pledge. The Giving Pledge is a charitable campaign founded by Bill Gates and Warren Buffett to encourage wealthy people to contribute a majority, i.e. more than 50% of their wealth to philanthropic causes. As of June 2022, the pledge has had 236 signatories from 28 countries. Most of the signatories of the pledge are billionaires at a total of US $600 billion. God damn.
Yeah.
List of notable pledgers: Elon Musk, Larry Ellison, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg. Look at all these fucking names, man. Just right off the bat. George Lucas, John Doerr, the guy that you were talking about earlier. Fucking hell, man.
And then look at the companies too. Tesla, SpaceX, Oracle, Berkshire Hathaway, Microsoft, Meta, Amazon, Facebook, Eakin Enterprises, Kleiner Perkins, Canva, which I didn't know
eBay?
eBay. eBay bought stuff from PayPal back in the day.
Hilton Worldwide, Home Depot, the Carlyle Group.
Yep.
That one goes back to Epstein right there.
Yep. Home Depot.
Blackstone Group.
Yep, Blackstone. That's basically BlackRock. Look who the donor was.
Peter Peterson. There he is, Peter Peterson. Coinbase.
Yeah, Coinbase is super fucked too. I have stuff on them in this web.
Bloomberg. Yeah, let's look at the Coinbase shit.
The 23andMe. So basically what I had to do was kind of like, do you know what Crunchbase is?
No.
So Crunchbase is basically where I get like a lot of my investor information. You can create a free account and get like some access to stuff, but then if you want all of the records, you have to pay $70 a fucking month. And that's like another thing that they do where like they overprice books to keep people from being able to like get information and shit. But you go through that and you can just see like the founders, you can see all of the information for like their series A, B, C funding, who the funders were. You can click on those and then go into who owns those. And that's where I get a lot of this stuff from. And so I was like, you know, I've never really dug into Coinbase, a lot, at least enough to understand what's actually going on. And there it is. So Coinbase actually donates to that Fair Shake PAC also, which was founded by Brian Armstrong, who worked at IBM and gives to the Giving Pledge, right? But Coinbase also has this Fred Ersham guy who came from Goldman Sachs. He is part of this company called Paradigm that is funded by Lightspark Group, which is just basically a front company for David Marcus and Meta. So Facebook funds a lot of their stuff. And where did he go? I just lost him. Fred Ersham, there he is. So Fred Ersham is also part of Paradigm Operations, that was getting funded by Alameda Research, which was Sam Bankman-Fried, Pantera Capital, which is Dan Moorhead, who is a co-investor, or he went to Princeton, sorry about that. And they also were out of Stanford and tied to this company called Bright Cove, which gets its funding from Circle Internet Financial through Jeremy Allaire, which also donates to the Fair Shake PAC. And so you have basically Blackstone, Peter Thiel up here. He funds a lot of this shit. The Apollo Global, the 9/11 shit with like the Salomon Brothers and the World Trade Center 7, credit scores and FICO in general. You have the contact tracing shit, the NFC technology, and like all the passport shit for like digital ID, PayPal, MIT, IBM, that Akamai shit tied to the 9/11 thing, Dropbox, Palantir, Patagon, AT&T, Bell Labs, Bitcoin.com, Union Square Ventures, like all of these things. The Kroll family. They were the ones that did the Bernie Madoff investigation, and also the 9/11 cleanup stuff. And Mark Andreessen. So you have all that shit, and then technocrats like Mark Andreessen, who are super close with Trump. SoftBank is involved. This thing called Intellisys Capital, the Bitcoin Foundation. And all this shit, man. The Winklevosses are involved. The twins that help fund Facebook. Credit Suisse is involved. And essentially all of these interests coming together to fund something called the Fair Shake PAC, to give Americans a fair shake.
I think it's funny how, well, I don't know if it's funny, but I guess it's kind of fucked up how they'll take things like that, like fair shake, you know. It's a genuine good term, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, I want a fair shake. Don't fuck me over. And what are these guys doing? They're fucking you over. And that shit is called a fair shake. I don't know if it's human nature or it's just the way things are, man. It's a lot of things start off wholesome, and for whatever reason, these psychopaths just subvert them and corrupt, pervert these things that initially start wholesome. I was thinking about that today, as a matter of fact, when I was at work. Drove by a warehouse that sold fireworks, and I was just like, how the fuck does a firework business stay in business all year long? Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't make any fucking sense. I thought y'all motherfuckers only sell like a couple of days of the year.
Yeah.
It made no sense. So I started pondering, and then I remember doing some research on gunpowder.
Mhm.
Initially, gunpowder started because of fireworks. The Chinese had sparklers and little bottle rockets and shit. And somewhere along the line, some fucking psychopath said, how can I harness that to kill motherfuckers? You see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
just some innocent fireworks, people just dancing around. Nah, that's not good enough. I want to kill some motherfuckers with that shit. And that's just one example. But then the Save Our Children, remember the Sound of Freedom?
Yep.
Tim Ballard. Who wouldn't want to save our children? Fuck yeah. Hashtag save our fucking children. And meanwhile, Tim Ballard is fucking doing gross ass shit. Jim Caviezel is looking at child porn to get ready for his role in Sound of Freedom. What the fuck? This doesn't sound very protect our children type of shit. And so, for whatever reason, these psychopaths are always wanting to pervert shit that is innocent and wholesome.
Yeah.
Throughout history. I just gave you the example from 1,000 years ago with gunpowder.
Yeah.
And a more recent example with the Save Our Children hashtag. A lot of the people going back to Trump, they voted for Trump to stop. I thought it was ironic, but their hearts were in the right place. They voted for Trump so that children wouldn't get trafficked anymore. There would be a big hit on that, and it would stop. That was their hope.
Yep.
Obviously, those of us that knew better, we knew that that was all bullshit. But you can't fault people for having their thoughts in the or their mind in the right state of mind, I guess. But I don't know, man. Why do you think people do that? They grab good shit and then just fucking pervert it, man.
So I'm pretty much convinced that it's all like a part of the Kabbalistic belief system. A big thing for them is basically inverting the meanings of things. I think to like one of the most prominent ones was like Rockefeller, and Rockefeller was really prominent in like the Planned Parenthood stuff. And when you hear the term Planned Parenthood, it sounds like they're going to help you and be there to guide you and shit, when really it's just a eugenics program that's masked as birth control. You have like the Make America Great Again. That's what they say, but what they mean is the opposite. And I think it's this coy dance that they do where they sort of have to tell you, but only to a degree. So it's like you're getting like a tacit compliance from people. And I think that plays into like their mysticism shit and their belief system, where they get to absolve themselves of guilt and accountability if they get people to consent to things. So by calling things something they aren't, that's how they get the consent to do whatever it is they want to do. For example, like you were saying with the child trafficking stuff. I mean, you had like Liz Crokin doing Pizzagate, and you have Laura Logan teaming up with Tim Ballard, and she's part of the shit with Mike Flynn, and they all do like the Save the Children stuff, to the point where Mike Flynn's sister has like a group called Little Flower that's like supposed to be about protecting little girls and shit. And it's like all that shit's operating out of Florida. around the area where, you know, like Epstein and Bannon and all those people live, and it's insane. Oh, you're muted.
God damn it. My bad.
All good.
I sometimes forget I mute myself. Yeah, it's all very dark, and it plays on our fears.
Yeah.
You know, it's that constant fear porn, I suppose you can go back to. You know, you're always scaring people into submission. And if we don't do this, it's only going to get worse. You know, if oh, man.
Well,
yeah.
I was just gonna say, I know that one part of it is like the whole thing with like the fear and the confusion and shit is it's scientifically proven that when your cortisol levels are high, you're more susceptible to influence. So they sow chaos just to get people like stressed out and confused and afraid and shit, because that is when people are willing to relent their agency. And it's like, it used to be like a phenomenon of like psychiatry, but we can literally like break down the biochemical science behind it now. And it's like, of course, that's what they're fucking doing.
That's the whole point for a lot of these false flags.
Yeah.
You know, you scare people. Like if the government said, all right, we're going to start, putting digital IDs, biometric IDs on people, and we're going to expand the surveillance system. We're going to know what everyone's looking at, where everyone's at all times. The vast majority of people are like, fuck that shit. Hell no, that's Big Brother. I've read Orwell's 1984. No, I'm against that shit. Now you have an illegal immigrant doing some kind of quote unquote terrorist attack.
Yep.
Hundreds, if not thousands, are killed in the process in a manufactured event by the government. But the people don't know that. They think it's real.
Yeah.
You now look, this is why we told you guys we introduced it. You guys denied it, but now you guys see why we need to introduce it. And now you scared people into submission. Now like, God damn, I don't want that to ever happen again. I don't want to ever have to go through a 9/11. I don't want to ever have to see a bunch of kids getting killed at Sandy Hook ever again. So that's the whole point of false flags. It's just, it is terrorism.
Yeah.
However, it's not the fucking terrorists that they tell us that are the terrorists. It's the government itself that's terrorizing us.
Yeah, I always think it's funny anytime they talk about a lot of this stuff. Their number one thing is saying it's for national security. And I think every single time that they've said it's something like that, it actually makes things worse, because we are not the nation to them. They are the nation. National security is protect the status quo, keep everyone in power in charge. And they can use that as a blanket excuse for all kinds of shit. Like look at the Epstein testimony. I mean, that was like considered a national security thing. And, you know, I look at like the Patriot Act, like you were saying with 9/11. Do you think if 9/11 never happened that they could have just passed the Patriot Act and had a bunch of people be like, fuck yeah, get those terrorists? No. And it's exactly like you're saying. They sow the chaos so that people will just beg for somebody to do something. And they're like, hey, that's us.
What did PNAC say that we need a new Pearl Harbor?
Yeah.
In order to push a lot of this shit through. I mean, they even tell us that in those documents.
Yeah. Or like Reagan when he gave that speech where he was like, we're gonna be invaded by like an extraterrestrial threat, so we need to unite all the world's nations together. It's It's like that's probably what's going to happen. That's probably what they're going to end up doing. And especially like when I look at Trump and his entire presidency, I think I might have brought this up before, but he's just doing Ronald Reagan over again. He's Ronald Reagan, but edgier. You know, you look at like AIDS that happened under Ronald Reagan. That's COVID under Trump. Both of them helmed by Fauci. Both of them non-existent. Both of them having, you know, pharmaceutical things come out of it. You have the assassination attempt. You know, Reagan apparently had an assassination attempt by that guy that was obsessed with that young actress or some shit. He read To Kill a Mockingbird or something, and then was like, all right, I need to go shoot Ronald Reagan, which I think that was all, you know, I think that was a ploy to outlaw specific books that maybe framed people's state of minds, and get them limited in like schools and public areas and shit. You have like the shit going on with Iran right now and how close Ronald Reagan was to Israel. The fact that Ronald Reagan, he once pitched the idea of an Iron Dome over America in the 80s. And now Donald Trump's talking about the Golden Dome. And there's just so many parallels and shit. And it's like, well, it worked so well the last time because Republicans still won't shut the fuck up about Ronald Reagan 45 years later. That I think that's basically the goal for his presidency, is he wants to leave the same kind of like lasting, you know, legacy as Ronald Reagan. So they're just repeating all the same fucking beats.
Yeah. That whole Russia Ukraine is, what was it? Trump is like allowing for these missiles that can reach Moscow apparently now.
Yeah.
Have people forgot? What was Trump saying before the second term started? He said, elect him and Russia-Ukraine war will stop on day one.
Yep.
Remember that. On day one. How many days are we into this fucking administration? And not only is there no ceasefire inside, I mean, it seems like it's going to even fucking ramp up.
Yeah.
You know, should Ukraine decide to fire some missiles deep into Moscow. Goddamn. But this is the peacetime president. This is the guy that was anti-war, is what MAGA was sold to. Anyone that was paying attention clearly knew that even in this first term, he was already flirting with war with Iran as well as Venezuela. People already forgot about that shit.
Yeah.
He was starting shit with Venezuela. So, anytime I heard people say, oh, no, if we get Biden in there, we're going to be in World War III.
Yep.
Like, dude, if they want World III, we're going to get World III. It doesn't matter if it was fucking Biden or Trump.
Yeah.
Or Kamala Harris.
So apparently something that's happening right now is, you know how Donald Trump threatened to like go after Hillary Clinton and Obama and the left wing and shit. Everyone's bringing up the presidential immunity talking point right now. And they're saying like, oh, well, if Trump can go to jail and get charged with all of these cases from his fake trial, then Donald Trump has the ability to go jail Obama. And it's like, okay, so if we can now jail the one guy that's supposed to be unjailable, doesn't that technically like lower the bar for all of us and what we can be jailed for? It seems like it would.
Yeah.
Insane.
I believe so. Billy's in the chat. What's up, Billy? Billy Ray Valentine, OG podcaster. He's a legend.
Let's go.
He's the king of New York.
Okay.
He is host of the Infinite Fringe podcast, a legendary podcast.
Nice.
And at some point, he will play one of our shows on his legendary show. I have faith in you, Billy.
Nice.
So
Let's
shout
go.
out to him. Yeah, I mean, so what do you see? What's the end game with Trump? Why do you believe, especially in light of what happened this week, man?
Mhm.
I know we talked about it at the very beginning. And even through this whole show, as it has been all week with me, it's hurting my brain.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. I don't get it, man. Why is he tanking his base? What's the end game? Do you see a bigger play up ahead? And I know the technocracy is definitely in that mix, but are there any other things you see happening, or what are your thoughts?
So I think basically the main goal for them anymore is just so back when we had the previous industrial revolution, the main commodity was the human body, and that's where we got like child labor and all this other shit, right? And so now in the fourth industrial revolution that we've been in for years, the number one thing that is the commodity is people's attention. And I think the reason that Trump is used so heavily, and we've had all these different things that have constantly come out that put split people in directions and shit. He's the distraction president, and while he's putting on the show in the front, Congress and all those think tanks and shit are all like passing bills that are slowly eroding different things here and there. And I think essentially what we're going to have at the end of Trump's term is we're going to be a lot further along on the Greater Israel Project. I think technocracy is going to continue unabashed. I think at some point during Trump's term, we're going to have a major crashing of the dollar. It's already trending that way, especially with the tariffs. And stable coins are going to be basically, they're going to come in and like save the American economy. I think that while all of that is going on, there's also like the military industrial complex aspect to it. And they're doing stuff so far beyond the pale. That's when you start getting into like the biodigital convergence shit and nanotech and DARPA and like W-Ban, where they're basically like creating digital twins of us. And they even have things called like have you ever heard of the FEAR system or FIRE system?
No, I'm not too familiar with it. What is it?
So it's I can't remember exactly what the acronym stands for, but it's FHIR, and it is essentially like a digital sandbox of the world where they are able to run simulations, like if they wanted a pandemic to come out of like Papua New Guinea and then see what happens in real time. They use AI, they use everybody's actual medical data, they use all of the information that is sent by your phone and your wireless devices, your listening devices, all that shit, and they basically run like doomsday scenarios with different medical things. And I think what we're slowly going to turn into is, instead of having an all-encompassing system that simulates everything, that we're going to have that on an individual level with like DNA sequencing and AI and shit like that, where they will be able to in real time like test and apply different things to us as individuals. So whether that's like smart dust or nanotech that invades our bodies, or they require us to get an implant or something like that. And the entire goal with technocracy was to turn the currency into an energy based currency. And I think over time they're going to find ways to implant nano devices on us to not only measure our biometrics, but also to, not only spy on us, but also harvest our body's natural, like, bioelectrical fields, in order to turn us into batteries.
Oh, God damn it, man.
Yeah. And
you just looking scared me, man.
It's crazy, man, because like a big part of that is using like graphene oxide. And the reason that they use it is because it's got like hypersensitivity to like electromagnetic frequency stimulation. And that's what they use to cloud seed. So graphene oxide its molecular structure is small enough to bypass the blood-brain barrier, and it can be absorbed into skin. So if you cloud seed a bunch of clouds with graphene oxide, and then that graphene oxide then rains down on people and hits their skin and the atmosphere and different animals and shit, and then it gets absorbed into your skin, and then it goes into your blood-brain barrier, then they can use electromagnetic frequencies to basically turn them into makeshift electrodes. And that's where we get MK Ultra and manipulating, like brainwaves and shit. And I think that's what like 6G and the Internet of Things and Internet of Bodies is going to be. Is it's going to be, you know, we're going to not only be monitored in real time on our cell phones, on our computers, by satellites and all of these like big sensors, but also all of these smaller sensors. And I think eventually what they're basically doing right now, I think, is setting up the point of no return for that to become a public thing.
Let me ask your thoughts on Bitcoin, man. I don't think I've heard you talk too much. I've heard you make some references towards Bitcoin, but what are your personal feelings on it? I go back and forth, man. I've got friends that are like, dude, you need to get Bitcoin, man. You're going to be rich and blah, blah, blah. And they mean well. I trust them. They're good dudes.
Yeah.
Then I got other friends like, no, fuck that shit, dude. Because all you need is a power grid to go down. Then what fucking Bitcoin are you going to have? So I don't know. I'm still in the middle. I don't know. Sometimes it sounds good. Sometimes I'm like, fuck it. But what does Mr. 7Cs think about Bitcoin in general?
Yeah. I think Bitcoin was created by intelligence agencies and was funded by big investment firms. And I do have a little context on some of the people behind the Satoshi Nakamoto story that I can share. And so let me pull this up here. So we'll start with that. So the main people behind the Satoshi Nakamoto email story were Nick Szabo, Hal Finney, and Adam Back. Adam Back came up with Hashcash before Bitcoin ever existed, and he owns this company called Blockstream. Blockstream is in bed with Cantor Fitzgerald, which is Howard Lutnick. And do you know Li Ka-shing?
No.
He is the richest man in China. He's in bed with like Eric Prince and all kinds of other people. He makes tons of investments. If you ever see Horizon Adventures as an investor somewhere, it's China.
China.
Yeah. And then the other guy was Hal Finney. Hal Finney came up with proof of work before Bitcoin ever existed. He is also part of the Alcor Life Extension Foundation. That's that same thing that promises to freeze Peter Thiel when he dies. Epstein had very, very close associations with a lot of people from there. And then
like the cryogenics movement?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hal Finney is frozen right now. He's cryogenically frozen, waiting to be unfrozen because he's a transhumanist. Same as Nick Szabo. And, you know, when I think of like how much cryptocurrency plays into like the technocratic agenda and transhumanism, I'm like, of course they would absolutely, you know, want to, it reminds me of Trump, where it's like, okay, so, you know, the financial system's all fucked, but now we have this outsider who's not beholden to anybody. And that's how we're gonna, you know, buck the financial system. Bitcoin is the Trump of finance, in my opinion. Or I guess Trump would be the Bitcoin of politicians. I don't know. Either way. And you know, when I think back to like the SHA-256 encryption that was created by the NSA, the SIS, the BND, which is German intelligence, the CIA, and the ZFCH, which is also German intelligence, they were all in on this fucking plot to sell these cryptography machines. And they were basically selling them like all over the world and promising that they were secure and couldn't be hacked and so on and so forth. But at the same time, we're selling the keys to the CIA and German intelligence. So everyone that was using the machines, if they intercepted those messages, they could just read them. And the company that started the cipher machines and cryptography basically in general was three guys. It was Boris Caesar Wilhelm Hagelin, you had Olaf Gilden, and you had Averin Gerhard Dam. And they were all part of the cryptograph patent consortium and this company called AB Crypto. And essentially that was all funded by the Nobel family, the same Nobels that the Peace Prize is named after. And that's where you get like Emmanuel Nobel, you have Brand Nobel, which you have Alfred Nobel, who came up with dynamite and the Nobel Prizes. He ended up creating Bofors that just became BAE Systems, which is the largest arms manufacturer and trader out of the UK. It was Russian oil oligarchs. They did underwater mines and all this shit. And so basically just like military arms manufacturers ended up funding military intelligence equipment that was used by the NSA, CIA, B&D, SIS, and so on and so forth. And I think that helped to inspire this, because when people have like looked back on this time right here, it was considered the greatest coup in information history, because it allowed them to basically spy on countries worldwide. And I think that is exactly what Bitcoin is for the financial industry. It's all of these intelligence agencies and transhumanists and military arms contractors and shit all saying, hey, this thing is secure. You got to remember that Bitcoin is crypto. All of its transactions are based on the same cryptography methodologies that were inspired by all of these cipher machines. And when I was talking about that company earlier, that AB Crypto AG, they've changed their names a couple times. They were owned by Boris Hagelin only up until the 1970s, but it didn't come out until 2019 that the CIA had owned the company since the 70s. And I think what's going to happen is like 50 years from now, it's probably going to come out that it was the fucking NSA or CIA or something like that. And I'm just super ahead of the curve, and Bitcoin maxers fucking hate me.
Yeah, like I said, man, I haven't paid too much attention to it.
There's
some of it seems scammy and other shit seems promising, but I don't know, man. I just rather work for my shit.
The way I see it, man, is if I can't physically defend something, I don't actually fucking own it. I mean, think of how many crypto stories you've heard of people getting hacked or scammed, or how many cryptos have been seized by the government when it's supposed to be like freedom money. Well, if it works just like regular money, how's it any fucking different except I gotta pay a fee every time I do a transaction? That just seems like taxes with more steps.
And not only that, but how about all these fucking shit coins that get propped up? Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Had a shit coin.
Yeah, it was he was on the Solana blockchain, I think, and I believe I mapped them out a little bit. I can't remember what exactly they were tied to. Solana.
I forgot about that because we were mentioning how he was involved in that Ponzi scheme with Trump University.
Yep.
And then shortly after, he dumps a fucking shit coin on his people.
Oh, so Solana is this guy named Anatoly Yakovenko, who used to work at Qualcomm. Qualcomm is just a military industrial complex thing to make sure that their processors get put in all of our phones. That's what's in basically every Android and most other like non-Apple smartphones. And then the other guy was a guy named Raj Gokul, who worked at General Catalyst Partners. And so, you know, it's like if you just dig deep enough, you can see that all this shit is just the same fucking shit, just rebranded and giving some new guy the ability to helm this company. So it seems like it's not coming from the fucking Warren Buffetts and Larry Finks and all that shit. but that's exactly what all of it is. It's Israel, it's transhumanists, it's technocrats, it's institutional banking. Epstein was very heavily involved in crypto. You know, people like Edward Snowden, Julian Assange, they're all involved in, and I'm like, man, I don't think that there exists cryptography and encryption today that can't be brute forced by the government, or, you know, their supercomputers or anything like that. Even if it takes them a year, I mean, they could just do that in the background. And I don't know. It seems like another one of those like honeypot things where, you know, you won't be spied on, so do all the illegal shit you want, like on like the Pirate Bay and the Silk Road and all that shit. I think it's all the same shit.
Yeah. Are you a believer in you know, physical assets then, like gold and silver?
I think the most important assets that you can have are like self-sustaining food production systems, because you can't eat gold, and at the end of the day, gold only has its value because of how shiny it is, how much we can put it into like jewelry and aesthetics, and then computing, and like maybe some like medical applications. But outside of that, like if society collapses, the fuck do I need gold for?
I agree. Yeah. I think having those basic skills too.
Yeah.
I don't think it's crazy to you know, sometimes I'll spend YouTube watching how to skin a fucking squirrel.
Yeah.
Or how to gut a fish. You may never have to use those skills, but it wouldn't hurt to just have them up your sleeve, man.
Yeah.
Just in case the situation ever arose. I have purchased a few those solar generators, a couple solar generators in case. I mean, shit. When was it? About a year ago or so, we had a flee for a hurricane, and we lost power here at the house. And having those little solar generators were fucking lifesaver, man.
Yeah.
Little simple shit like that, man. It almost sounds crazy, man. And maybe some people, if you tell people, oh, I'm prepared, I've got all these canned goods, I've got chickens, rice and beans, you know, like some people are saying, maybe it is, and maybe nothing will happen. But I'd rather joke about it later, like, oh man, I thought shit was gonna hit the fan and have all this surplus rather than need the damn surplus. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Better to have it and not need it, man. Every time.
Yeah. Each and every time. That was good shit, man.
Yeah, man.
We did 3.5 hours, and you did a stream yesterday, right?
Yeah. I was
Or was it the day before?
No, I did it last night. I was doing I've started doing just talking streams, because sometimes on the like lies and ties where I was just doing the webs, I would start going off on tangents, and people were like, you should just do one where you just talk. And I was like, okay,
Yeah.
all right, that makes it easy on me, because then I don't have to research the whole fucking stream.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
Let people know where they can find you, my man.
Absolutely. I'm on Elon Musk's Twitter, Peter Thiel's Rumble, and Sergey Brin's YouTube. You can also go follow me on Substack if you want to read super in-depth articles like once every 2 months. And then I have donation links and merch. I do merch. I like design my own shirts and stuff that I sell. You can find all those at my Linktree link.
Where can people send a couple shekels, man, if they want to send you some?
Oh man,
funds.
So I have buy me a coffee, and then I'm like monetized through the stream and stuff. If you guys want to do that, if you want me to get the most of my money, there is a link on my Linktree that just says donate, where I get 98% of the money. And every other, like if you donate through YouTube, you only get 60%. If you like tip through Twitter, they take a cut. And the donate, it's through, you know Streamlabs, right?
Yeah.
So they're a very shitty company, but if you want the most out of your donation and you don't want your money going to the technocrats that own all these platforms, you can donate directly through that, and it gets deposited immediately into the streamer's account. So that's the best way to support me.
Absolutely, yeah. anyone that, I mean, YouTube sucks.
Yeah.
They remove creators like myself, like Seven, all the time. So if you like Seven's content, don't fucking super chat on YouTube. Hit those alternative links because YouTube takes like half of the damn super chat. So you throw $100 super chat, YouTube keeps half of it.
Yeah.
Fuck YouTube. So definitely hit those other accounts where you can see more of that money. Creators like Seven. I mean, look at all these webs, man. It's a lot of time and effort, and doing a lot of great work, man. And I thank you, and I treasure you, man. You're my homie. It's awesome that we can message each other about goofy shit.
Yeah, man.
Or the Trump assassination nonsense. Steve, shout out to Steve Cohn. He's like, dude, I need to get in on those chats you guys do.
Yeah,
and, man, we might have to work something, man. I think it's always good times. Thank you, my brother.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Always a pleasure chatting with you. You're one of the very, very few people who I think sees the big picture in the same way that I do, but then you also aren't like fraternizing with a bunch of people that I have big problems with. Like all of your friends aren't people that are in my web. And you seem like a genuine down to earth guy that's just trying to find the truth, and that I think I relate with that so fucking heavy that we naturally like get along because of that. Because if it's bullshit, we're gonna fucking call it bullshit because it's bullshit. There's no other reason or motivation or anything. Like I just want to know what the fuck's going on, so I know how to prepare and avoid different shit and things like that. I never want to be blindsided by anything, and I try to do that for other people, and I think you do the same thing. So props to you, man, for doing what you do.
I appreciate you, man. I'm just this morning I started working. I think when your power went out, I was in the live chat. I woke up at 2 a.m, had to start work at 3 a.m. I've been up since, so putting up all kinds of hours, pouring cement all damn lit day for 14 hours, driving a cement mixer. I'm just a fucking regular dude. I work, drive big truck, and I love doing podcasts. I love this. I don't make shit on these, and nor do I expect to make shit.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I think the money corrupts you, as some of these clowns we've called out in previous streams, like a Jason fucking crying Burmis and others, who only say shit based on where the dollar winds are blowing.
Yeah.
What they're allowed to say, and that's why I gravitate to you too, man, because you don't give a fuck. You speak your mind. Fuckery is afoot. Fuckery is afoot. It doesn't matter if you're on someone else's show where they have close ties, you still speak your mind, and you don't hold back, man. So I appreciate that from you, my brother.
Yeah, man. I think it's important, and I feel like I truly realize like kind of what we're up against, and it's bigger than me, my ego, anyone's opinions. Like I don't give a shit. At the end of the day, anybody can say whatever the fuck they want. If I help one person, that it negates everything else, all the bad shit.
Yeah, it really does. And I think part of it's funny because maybe some people would listen probably wouldn't really categorize us as being humble, but I think that's humility right there.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a form of it, but we just try. That's all we can do, and try to wake people up, whether it's wake people up to the fake Trump assassination attempts or any other fakery, whatever it may be. We should probably, I don't know, we'll have to talk about it off air, but maybe talk about the next show, man. I know we want to do a nukes.
Yeah.
Maybe go deeper into the whole nukes things. Maybe we could even do a NASA special. You and I mean, we like you stated, we have similar views. My views are a little bit different than my buddies at the Apollo Detectives.
Yeah.
So it could be, even though I've done a ton of NASA shows over the years, I think you and I would have a very unique NASA show. So that'd be fun as well too.
Oh
down
yeah.
the line. We could do a bunch of shows, man, because we do think eye to eye on a lot of shit and have similar views and takes, if you will.
I agree, man. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I'm excited about doing that nuke one because the last time I started to talk about nukes, I got like maybe 5% in, but it was like 4 hours of me just yelling at people about how stupid this was. I was like, what do you mean so they say the epicenter of a nuclear blast is hotter than 10 suns. It's like 10 million degrees Celsius or some shit. I'm like, what the fuck? That is not, no, that's not possible.
Well, just to prime people up for that show, that should be a great show. But a couple of days ago, I sent you a link to fucking a YouTube documentary from 1955.
Yeah.
So last time you and I covered nukes, we were watching just the blasts, that looked like stage model sets.
Yeah.
Blowing up and whatever. And then out of nowhere the other day, of all places, YouTube recommends me the entire where those clips came from, like a whole documentary on it.
Yeah.
How they're building the model city to see how nukes affect telephone poles. That's why there's telephone poles there and all this fucking shit. And why they dress the dummies on this clothes or that clothes. Then they set off the bombs and they wait 24 hours. And 24 hours they go there, no gloves, no breathing apparatus, no protective equipment whatsoever to examine what a nuke does in the aftermath. To me, only reinforcing the whole thing that fuck nukes are fake, man.
Yeah. So do you remember how like they came up with the camera to capture the blast before they dropped the bomb and all this like pre-research shit that they did? And then you're gonna invite journalists to go to the blast site the day after, and like they were there,
no hazmat suits,
nothing. And when they were there in plain clothes, taking pictures of the shit, wearing the glasses, nothing on, and I bet most of them lived to be 80.
And not only that, bro, like the debris, if you looked at the debris, it didn't look like it had been exploded or blasted off. It just looked like it got knocked down.
Yeah.
It's
so
like they got an
stupid, man.
excavator and just fucking leveled the fucker. Oh yeah, nuke was here, guys.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here, dude.
Insane.
Yeah, that'll be a fun show though, man. So that's definitely, and I want to encourage people, especially the people that listen on audio only. You guys can leave comments or on the videos. Give some topic ideas. Fucking, we'll hit it. Me and Seven will fucking hit it.
Absolutely.
And give us some topic ideas, and we'll research them and bring forth a rather exquisite time and a rather exquisite show. All right, my man. Hey, I know you had that. Well, you were having some health concerns or something with your head.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you that, man, real quick, if you don't mind. I mean, I know you shared it on Twitter, but
yeah. So it was December 2023. I was supposed to be going to work, and I was just getting out of the shower, and I basically like lost consciousness out of nowhere. I felt fine, all that shit, but when I fell, I hit the side of my head right here, and woke up. I was like, fuck, man, I need to call out of work. So I did, and I called like one of my friends, and then my roommate who lived here at the time. They were both urging me to like go to the hospital. They were like, you might have a fucking concussion. You don't want to like go to sleep. You might die. I was like, fine, I'll go see the Rockefeller doctors and let them prod me and shit. And they did a scan, and they said that when it came back that I had a mass right here on the left side of my head. And they said, we can't give you like any formal diagnosis just from this one scan. You're going to need to go see a neurologist, but it could potentially be this thing called temporal arteritis, which I'm kind of convinced it is, which is why I'm so hesitant to be like, cancer or whatever, because believe it or not, I have very prominent like arteries that come out of my temples. I don't know if you can see that shit, but I'm not straining or nothing. And essentially they were like, hey, go see a neurologist and get that shit checked out. And at the time I had like just left my job. I was like in the process of leaving. And I was just like, I don't know how I'm going to afford this. And, worst case scenario, they're going to tell me I'm going to die. Best case scenario, I have to like, pay them a bunch of fucking money for them to tell me, nothing's wrong, or it was a misscan or something like that. And then after I left the hospital, there were a few times that I blacked out again. And the last time that it happened, I was actually doing mushrooms, and I had like made some mushroom tea, and I was just chilling, and I ended up getting up to go to the bathroom. And while I was using the bathroom, blacked out, fell back, hit my head, all kinds of shit. Man. And like, my friend ended up coming in there, and cause they heard me fall and shit, knew about like the head shit. And, man, I was a mess, but that was, I believe April or March of last year. And I just had started thinking, and I was like, damn, ever since that last time, like I made it a point to be like, I'm going to start eating food from like farmers, and I'm going to start like drinking, exclusively water. I'm going to start exercising and all this shit. Right. And, since then I haven't had any instances. So it's been over a year, since anything's happened, as far as like me losing consciousness. I still get dizzy spells sometimes, and I get really fatigued, pretty easily. Sometimes you'll see like I'm supposed to stream a day or something, and I like cancel it. And it's just cause like I'm probably in bed because my head feels like it's in a vice all the time. Like it feels like someone's doing this to me, like basically constantly. And then where my temples are, it feels like there's like a lump of something that's in between my skin and my skull. And I don't know what it is, but when I start to get like headaches or something like that, it starts to feel like it's growing. Like like sometimes it feels like something's traveling through like my veins and arteries and shit, and like expanding and spreading out through like the front and the back from my temples. And it sucks, man.
Is it driving you crazy?
It does. It like I get tinnitus really easily when that's happening. Like it's so fucking weird because I just had a little bit of that happen last night. And when I turn my phone off to go to sleep, but when I was having that happen, I like turned my head in the direction of my girlfriend, and she had her phone on. And when I would turn, I would get the tinnitus, but instead of being in my ear, it felt like it was in the center of my head. And then when I would turn away from her and her phone, it would go away. And then I turned back, and that was just last night. And I was like, holy fuck, man, I think I'm EMF sensitive now.
That's scary shit, bro.
Yeah, man.
So what are you doing to take care of it?
Right now, I mean, I'm at the point where I have done enough research on like the medical industry that I don't fucking trust any of it. So I'm at like this impasse where it's like, I don't know what it is. So I don't even know how to start to take care of it. But I also don't trust anybody to tell me what it is, because these are the same fucking doctors that push COVID vaccines, and some of them push fucking ivermectin, which I have issues with. And it's like, I can't find somebody that's just like, here's some stuff that grew out of the ground. Take this and you'll feel better. It's always some big pharma fucking product, or some crazy, like people are telling me on that status to like take methylene blue, and I'm like, fuck no, I'm not doing that. That's for fish. Take ivermectin. I'm like, fuck no, I'm not doing that. That's for horses. And so
some people swear by a lot of the shit. I wonder if it too. It just depends on your particular body, and
yeah,
you know, maybe what may work for some people may not work for others, and so it's just trying to find the right recipe.
yeah,
But I'm the same way, bro. I don't trust anything, and that includes the pharmaceutical industry.
yeah.
You know, uh, I feel like it's a racket, and maybe keeping us sick is part of that racket.
I think so.
Keeping us wanting to be hooked on their pharmaceuticals, be lifelong customers, if you will.
Yeah,
Which is really fucked up if you look at it that way.
yeah.
So yeah, man, I don't blame you the way you see it, man. I'm the same way.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where like I feel like I'm really fucking weird because I just don't ever process trauma at all. I just absorb it, and then I can just talk about it bluntly and like detach myself from it emotionally. The first couple days I was super fucked up because I thought I was just gonna die.
Damn, man.
Yeah, but I'm basically at the point now where it's just like it's one of those things that I'm just fucking dealing with, and I don't want like pity or sympathy or money. Like I don't want people to like start a GoFundMe for me or anything like that. Like I just want people to understand like sometimes I'm just gonna be fucking tired and I'm not gonna feel like doing something, and I might like cancel my streams sometimes. And if people can do that, I don't want anything else. It's one of those things where it's like, hey, here's information about me, please don't let it change the way you feel about me. Kind of thing.
No, it's good to know though, man. I mean, it that way people could have be a little bit more patient, man. I mean, I hope you get better, man.
I appreciate it, brother.
You do a lot of great work, man, and I didn't want to put you on the spot, but I'm sure a lot of people were probably curious too, so that helps answer that question as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's
oh yeah, my man.
One day at a time, brother. That's all we can do.
Hell yeah, dude. No, and I respect you made a post about how you want to have the weekends with your family and shit like that. That's 100% respectable, man, and commendable. So that's awesome. Anytime you want to do a show, man, just hit me up, like kind of like what we did today.
Yep.
We just fucking got together and we smashed it out. But hope you get some rest, man, and just take care of yourself. I know you're a smart guy, so I know you will. And I think it's important people respect you too. Anyone listening, now you know, if you don't get a response back, don't take it personal.
Yep.
Just be patient. Is the advice. My man, thank you so much. Hope you get some rest and you be safe now.
Hey, thanks, Weezy. You too, man. You have a good weekend, and everybody in your chat, thank you guys for watching and the support and all that shit. We'll see you guys next time.
Hell yeah.